The record button. There we go. Hey, good morning, Misfits. It is Sunday, June 21st, Father's Day. I hope everybody's doing well. Hope you're having an amazing day, and I hope you've got some fun things on store for you and your dads. And for those of you, your dads aren't here. My dad's not here in the physical world, but he's always with me. He's the mentor I usually speak about when I speak about, well, my mentor would say, and it just gives him a little bit more credibility than my dad would say, because whenever we hear my dad would say, a lot of us are go, yeah, my dad wouldn't say stuff like that. So hope everybody's doing well. And you've got some fun things on store. If you're part of the Slimtastic community, there's still a chance to put a picture of you and your dad up or a father figure up and be put into a drawing for probably close to $100. So you can find out about that inside of the Slimtastic Journey community. You can ask Rhonda about that if you'd like. And what else? Let's see. Today's conversation is still about communication. It's still about the secret sauce. I uploaded this 178 page kind of 8 barriers to communication PDF file. I forget where I got it from, but I loaded that up into the secret sauce community, the free web Facebook community that's there. And one of the 8 barriers that it talks about are failure to make a great first and second impression, flubbing the story, number 2, not listening, number 3, 4, arguing with the intent to harm, criticism, hostility, and contempt, ignoring body language, and ignoring the cycle of communication. Those are pretty strong barriers to communication. And I'm just looking through it because I haven't looked through this file in a long time. It says there's several facets of communication, many of which people never consider. Here are the most important. Now, we're talking about having a conversation with somebody. We're talking about building a rapport, building a relationship. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. Finding a way to have a conversation with folks so that they're more excited to be a part of what you're doing and less frustrated with the time that they're spending with you. So here's some of the most important in the facets of communication. Your beliefs, your intentions, your verbal skills, and your empathy. That's number 1 of the number 1 barrier to communication. Right? So all too often we forget how important it is that who we are bleeds through in everything we do. What we say, what we do, how we think, how we look, right? A lot of times you'll hear Rhonda when she's talking about it, and she uses that phrase. Anybody know the phrase she uses when somebody will message her and go, hey, listen, you need to smile. You need to pay attention, right? She calls it the stinky fart face. I can't believe I just said that. So, yeah, the most important facets are you and your beliefs. See, if you show up to have a conversation with somebody, it's very realistic that who you are, the beliefs you have, are going to come through in your conversation. This is why what Sadhguru says, sit in joy or sit in misery. The choice is yours. Your intentions. Les Brown said it best in the interview I did with him. Les Brown said it best. He said, people show up with commission breath. What are your intentions when you sit down to have a conversation with somebody? Could you imagine if you sat down to have a conversation with people and it was like a first date? Could you imagine sitting down with your family as if it was a first date? My bride and I laughed for 3 hours on our first date. Blind date, by the way, set up by my mother. Neither one of us were super, super duper excited about heading out to that little shindig. The conversations we had gave us an inkling that maybe, quite possibly, there's a slight chance we might be able to stomach a conversation, a first date. And that comes back to your verbal skills. What are your verbal skills when you have conversations with people? Right? What does it sound like when you chat with people, when you engage them in dialogue? All too often, Covey said, seek first to understand, then be understood. All too often we have, I explain it this way, we have monologues that seem to bump into each other and have a similarity in description. I think, and I forget who said it, I have to look it up. I'm going to give it to Emerson. Emerson said, the challenge with dialogue is people think they have one. Most people, they're two monologues. Right? How many of us have ever sat there? Or how many of us have ever been talking to somebody, and in our conversation with them, every time we stopped, you could see them wanting to go, and they wanted to jump in because you triggered an idea in them. It had very little to do with what you did, or maybe it was the failed secret of conversation called one-upsmanship. Oh, I have a car. Oh, I have two cars. Oh, I have two cars in a 3-car garage. I have 3 cars in a 5,000 square foot house. Whatever it is, it's one-upsmanship. I'll never forget a story. Lou was the chef at our family style buffet restaurant, and Lou met this gentleman, Al Kurtz. Al Kurtz was from Washington, the state of Washington. And Al Kurtz had a story for everything, but you know what? So did Lou. And Al and Lou were sitting down at a table in Mulberry, Florida at Murphy's family style buffet, and they started talking. And Lou would say one thing, and Al would say another thing, and Lou would say another thing. It got to a point to where this has got to be 30 years ago. Al was saying that he was driving along a highway and a deer jumped off of one of the side of the mountains and jumped down in front of him and landed on his car and kind of crushed in the hood of his car. Well, guess what happened to Lou? Lou said, I had one jump in, but I was driving a convertible and it jumped in and it tore all of the stuff up and everything else. And this was after about an hour and a half of them going back and forth with stories. It finally came up, and Al succumbed to the storytelling, and he goes, I just can't do it. I can't do it anymore. My point is this. If you're looking to one up, if you're looking to show where you're better at in the conversation, it might not be serving you in your rapport building. See, this is again, right, of the 8 barriers of communication. The first one we're talking about here is failure to make a great first or second impression. And in that little niche, the first one was your beliefs, intention, verbal skills, or empathy. You know what number 2 is? The other person's beliefs, intentions, verbal skills, or empathy. So the number 1 barrier to communication are your beliefs, your intentions, your verbal skills, and your empathy. Have you recorded your conversations? You know what happens is too many people say, I don't like to listen to myself. I can't. Ugh. And when I hear myself on a recording, my skin crawls. Well, I'm here to tell you, that's got to change. If you want to develop, if you want to create your secret sauce, if you want to find that niche that makes you rich, you're going to have to get comfortable to hearing yourself in conversation. You're going to be able to hear your tone and your dialogue and what you sound like and what do you look like. Here's the good news about Zooms. You can record the Zoom and you can go back and see how often are you looking into the camera? How often are you paying attention? Are you non-verbally engaged in the conversation? You're nodding. How often do you show empathy in your conversations? You want to be able to understand where your prospect is. You'll be able to see their engagement, their empathy. All too often, people are looking at the screen because they want to see you. This is how important it is to see you. But the challenge is they can't see you if you don't give them your eyes. You've got to be looking at the camera. So the next one is the physical environment. Barrier to communication, right? First one, how to create a good first or second impression. What environment are you operating in? What physical environment? Church, football field, game? I'm just reading what's in the PDF I put in the secret sauce. School, office. What is the intent behind your conversation? Are you a business leader, a business entrepreneur? You can be sitting in your house and not have a green screen background like I do. You can be sitting in your house and have your house be less than perfect, your background less than perfect. But if that's the best part of your call, you might need to change the way you have a dialogue with somebody. The physical appearance of each communicator, the nonverbal communication of each communicator, liking between people, and the gender differences is a perception and communication. The gender differences in perception and communication. See, all of that to say, of the 8 barriers of communication, they broke down number 1, good first impression, second impression, into 8 unique individual moments. Today we have a holiday, Father's Day. So what happens? How many of you believe there's a good chance if you went out to social media today, you're going to see people wishing people Father's Day? If you believe you're going to see people wishing people Father's Day, type an FD in the chat. And we're not even surprised, right? Why is it? Because somewhere on a calendar, it says Happy Father's Day. Do you know what? Father's Day doesn't exist unless there's a Mother's Day. And Mother's Day doesn't exist unless there's a Marriage Day. And Marriage Day doesn't exist unless there's a First Date Day. Right? All of these things can link back to each other. The challenge is that everybody's all about everything for one day. Isn't Mother's Day every day? Isn't Father's Day every day? Isn't being a good spouse, a good groom, a good bride every day? Isn't being a good son every day? See, we have these days in honor and respect, but there's always an action tied to it. On my birthday, right? My birthday, RBP came up with Rick and Amelia, and I got a card from Amelia. And it's the cutest card, because when you get to know Amelia Parker, you have a lot of hoops to jump through to get to know that young girl. Or if I should say this, yes, to get to know her, but there's a lot of hoops you got to jump through to get into her audience. And rightfully so. She's a very discerning young woman. All too often, people won't put in the effort to get to know individuals. But she made me a card, and I have that card with me. And I showed her another piece of paper I've had in my wallet since 2008 that another young girl gave to me in Slovenia, actually in Ljubljana, Slovenia. And these are precious little things. These are precious little icons that have special meaning. Well, yes, today is Father's Day. I get it. Absolutely. But why do we wait for today to wish Dad a happy Father's Day? Well, I talk to my dad every day. Do you say it every day? My point is this. The challenge is that we should give awards and accommodations and accolades to those individuals who are important in our life. I just wish we'd do it every day. See, is there a prospect day? What if we had an award for prospect day? Do you think prospects might be a little bit more excited to be prospected? Because on prospect day, they would get an award, they would get a trophy, they would get an attaboy. See, we have this this idea that we need to follow the crowd. Part of the barriers to communication is that we're directed by our environment or by our makeup to communicate in a certain way. What if we just communicated to friends all the time? People do business with people they know, they like, and they trust. A presentation doesn't qualify you for knowing you or liking you or trusting you. It just means you can spit out information. Very dear friend of mine, Lisa Grossman, says less presentation and more conversation. Are you worthy of being communicated with? Are you worthy of being communicated with? Do you put somebody at ease? Do you make them feel excited? Do you listen? Zig Ziglar said it best. I was on a call the other night with Tom Ziglar, Zig's son, who runs Ziglar Corporation. And he said with the he does a lot of events, right? Zig Ziglar, right? Tom Ziglar goes out and does events all around the world. Well, with COVID, there ain't no events. Every speaker's speaking engagements for 2020 gone. Absolutely gone out the window. So in 30 days, he did like 100 Zooms. And that's what his trainers are now doing. They're doing Zooms all the time. So they had to learn how to motivate a remote audience. And that's what you're looking to do. You're learning how to motivate a remote audience. How do you engage with them? How do you excite them? How do you make them want to come back and have a conversation with you? That's when you understand your secret sauce. How many of you drop an R in the chat if you all have a favorite restaurant that you like to go to because they have this one dish that you absolutely love? That's a secret sauce. Haven't we ever asked? And if you go there long enough and spend enough money, you go, listen, can I get the recipe? And you take it home and you take home the exact recipe. And it doesn't taste the same. Listen, I can buy the same steaks Ruth Chris uses. I can buy the exact same meat. I have that connection. I can buy the super premium grade beef, the filet, hand trimmed, all of that stuff. You know what I don't have? The 1800 degree flame broil oven that cooks from the top down, not the bottom up. That's another $30,000, $40,000 oven. I'm probably not going to get that. That's why the steaks at Ruth Chris taste completely different than what I could cook. It's because of the tool they use. The secret ingredient they have is that it's an 1800 down from the top down flame broiler. You can tweak the sauces and everything else. That's sauces. That's just knowing about this particular touch of this and touch of that. But I do know this, you can make a ham sandwich and somebody you love make the same ham sandwich and it tastes 10 times better, right? So sometimes it's the intention behind it. So as you communicate, your key to communicating is being able to sell an idea. And here's the thing, people do not want to be sold, yet they love to buy. Any of you ever seen an advertisement or heard somebody's using something, be it a book or an audio or some kind of device, and you go, do you like that? Right? Reference. Do you like that? Yes. And I'm going to get it. Somebody says, I use this. You go, I'm getting the same thing. Tell me what you got. Why is it so hard when we go to present our business then that people don't instantly buy and throw their money at us like we do to Amazon? Has anybody made an online order in the last week? Drop a Y if you've made an online order in the last week. Or maybe I should probably narrow it down in the last 24 hours. So here's the reality. If you've made these orders 10 minutes ago, if you've made these orders, you've bought something, it was a decision you made. What's the decision? Have you thought about what's the decision people have to make to buy your product, to buy your service, to buy your tools or whatever it is that you have to sell? The reason people keep buying, I'm shocked every day, a couple of times a day, somebody's placing an order to become part of the secret sauce, placing an order to be a part of that workshop. I'm like, really? Still? Awesome. What makes it easier for people to purchase a product from you? Remember, there's point A where they hear about the story, and there's point B where they got to take action. And the time in between requires that the point B has to be bigger. The longer the time, the bigger the memory that has to be created. So if it's about creating a memory to make the decision at point B, what does your presentation do? Does your presentation give them a memory of joy, of happiness, of possibility, of creativity, of want, of desire, of wishes, or does it scare the bejeebies out of them and make them think they're going to fail before they even get started? I get there's a variety of people out there. There's the looky-loos and there's the tire kickers and there's all of this and that and the other. I get that. Yet when you have a dialogue with them, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day and I said, did you ever ask them? Did the act of asking them, would you like to join me in business, ever come out of your mouth? Well, no. So you're assuming that they're going to figure that out. Were they in business with you before? No. Were they in business with you after? No. You want to know what the big reason is? Do you know the reason why they didn't join you in business? No. Well, they said they didn't have money. That's not a reason. That's an excuse. Well, they don't have the time. Not a reason, an excuse. Did you ask them to join you in business? Would you like to join me in business? Is this something you can see yourself doing? Would you like to have the experiences I've talked about? Do you see where this fits into your future so that you can create some more residual income? Do you see where you can become, if it works for you like it does for everybody else, do you see where you can get a little bit healthier and possibly potentially, if you share it, a little bit wealthier? Is that something you would like in your future? I don't know. Because the key is people do want to be asked for help. People do want to be asked to join. People do want to feel of value. Do you ask this question in general when you're speaking to the crowds? I do. Like Laura, if I'm in the front of the room doing a BizOp presentation or in a Zoom doing a BizOp presentation, yeah, I would ask the question. Hey, listen, at the end of this conversation today, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to have a conversation. I'm going to cover 3 points at the very end. And I'm going to ask you to see if it makes sense for you to join us in business. You'll be the one to decide that. But here's what I would like for us to agree on. It could be yes. It could be no. It could be no, not right now. Or it could be, well, I'm going to say this. I'd rather it not be maybe. Can we agree to not say maybe? Let me think about it. Can we agree to say, let me think about it? Because that just means, A, I didn't give a good presentation, and I give pretty good presentations. It means that you weren't listening, and I think you're a good listener. I think in the past, when you've used that, let me think about it, it's a way for you to not make me feel bad. You won't make me feel bad by saying no. So can we agree it's a yes or a no, or maybe the no is not right now? But it's not going to be think about it, because if you say, let me think about it, I'm going to ask you right then and right there, what else do you need to think about? I don't want you walking away confused. By show of hands, how many of you would like to walk away not being confused? And everybody else will raise their hand. And guess what? They'll raise theirs. That's part of understanding how to move and have a conversation with a crowd. When you're in the front of the room, you get to say anything. The question is when you say anything, will it produce the result to do something? That's your responsibility at the front of the room. Responsible to them, not for them. And it would be valuable if you led the conversation from the very beginning, before the pressure shows up of actually making a decision. Hey, listen, before we get started, would it be okay if we agree on something that it's either a yes or a no at the end? And the no might be not right now, but would it be okay that we agree to not say, let me think about it? Because if you wanted to get started and you saw something that's very exciting to you, would you want me to say, well, let me think about letting you get started? You'd be mad as a hornet, wouldn't you? You go, wait a minute, no, I want to get started now, and if you don't do it, somebody else will. I'll let somebody else enroll me. You'd be kind of frustrated if I said, well, let me think about it. Could I ask you for the same courteousness can we agree to that? Let me think about it is not an answer. This is what happens when you know your secret sauce, when you know that you know that you know that you know, when you understand that this is of value. Imagine this. Imagine if there were 3 questions you could use at the beginning of the conversation that would allow you to avoid the let me think about it. Do I have your permission to help? Do I have your permission to make you feel a little uncomfortable? Do I have your permission to take you out of that uncomfortable feeling? Imagine if you actually use those questions. Imagine how much confidence you would have. Imagine how much clarity you could communicate. Imagine in the areas your beliefs, your intentions, your verbal skills, and your empathy. Imagine how well that would come across if you asked those 3 questions. I've been teaching you those 3 questions for the last 480 what? 86 episodes. And some of you may not still use them because you might not think they sound cheesy. I'm not comfortable asking them. Well, then you'll keep struggling along. They do make a difference. So number 2, and then we'll go to questions. Happy Father's Day to all of you that have joined us here recently. Flubbing the story. I forget what this one is. I got to see what that says. Flubbing the story. There's mirroring, there's leading, pacing. But this is like a public speaker's class right here. The mistake of being boring. What do I talk about? Self-disclosure. Well, they even give an example of a conversation. Well, I don't know where flubbing is, but I know flubbing the story is not having the confidence in your dialogue. You being able to tell your story. Oh, chapter 2, there it is. Wow, that was 30 pages on the first one. Most conversations include at least one story. Some longer conversations include 24 or more stories. When you tell somebody a story, it's really important that the person you are talking to listens. Listen, this is like the Bible where it says, I set before you life and death. Choose life. Why would we even have to say most conversations include a story, some longer? When you tell somebody a story, it's really important that the person you're talking to listens. It makes you feel good when they ooh and ah. When people gloss over your stories, you feel let down and sometimes hurt. Our stories are important to us, and we want them to be important to others. Remember the little girl, the Texas little girl, Jessica McClure, who fell in the well and got trapped? It took 3 days to get her out. The nation watched. Would she live or would she die? Could the rescuers get her? That happened in 1987. You don't know. You don't even know, but you probably remember it to this day. Each year, millions of people die and experience incredible events. The story of Jessica was great, and the story, it unfolded right before our eyes. The media calls these kinds of stories human interest stories. They sell news shows because people are engaged by the drama. Each of us has at least one human interest story to tell about ourselves. Wow. A human interest story that moves people. Your secret sauce. That story you keep hidden in the background. That story when we see Eve bring a Barbie doll to the call. When we hear Leo in tears say, I want to create a place where fatherless children can know love. When we hear these stories, these are human interest stories. This is what your audience is looking for. You need to see if they qualify. Brene Brown says it best. Do they qualify to hear your story? You have got, people have to jump through a hoop to hear your story. Sometimes you'll tell your story, right? It said in right here, page 33. Page 33. People, they need to hear your story. They need to be listening. How do you qualify them? You see if they ask questions. When you go to a great restaurant, or if you have food allergies, or you have a desire to want to eat something amazing, see, sometimes I'll show up at restaurants, and if they're higher end restaurants, there's usually there's a menu, then there's what the specials are, and then there's the off menu. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Drop an OM if you know what I'm talking about, the off menu, right? Even their burger joint that's got the, what's it called? It comes from California. It's got the crisscross palm trees. It's got the X palm tree. In-N-Out, yes. In-N-Out. Yep, In-N-Out. Yeah, and so In-N-Out's got an off menu. But when I'll go, I'll say, let me ask you. I'll ask the waiter. I'll say, could you ask the chef, is there something he wants to cook tonight that he was hoping somebody would order that they haven't ordered yet? And the waiter will go back to the chef and they'll go, I'm sorry, because the waiters don't always get this request, right? If you know the chef at a particular restaurant and you go in, hey, listen, tell Chef Sean is here that I'd like the usual. Ah, yes, okay, I know what to cook them. Right? So sometimes, and why do you do that? This is back to Laura's question. How do you qualify them? You see if they want to know the dang story. You see if they want to hear the story. And how do you see if they want to hear the story? You let little bits and pieces out. I'm a farm boy from Ohio with a 0.9 grade point average. Really? I grew up on a farm. Where'd you grow up? Now all of a sudden we have a reason to talk about farm. I've had people join me in business because of that. Well, if you grew up on a farm, how many head of cattle did you have? Did you have 2? No, we had 200. Okay, so instantly, hearing somebody has 200 head of cattle, instantly there's a level of credibility. Did you bale hay or did you do square bales or round bales? We did square bales, but we did square bales we stuck in a hay loft. Oh, so you know what it's like to bale hay. Yep. All of these stories, all of these credibilities, right? It's like military. If somebody says, I was in the Marines, what rank? An E6. Wow. How long were you in? 4 years. Wow. You jumped 5 ranks in 4 years? Pretty amazing. Marines versus Army versus Navy versus National Guard versus Coast Guard. There's all of these brotherhoods. And what you're looking for is to find out, are they a part of your brotherhood or sisterhood? And do they want to hear the rest of the story? Right? Why does anybody turn a page on a book? How many of you have ever picked up a book, bought the book, picked it, and started reading and go, I couldn't get through the first chapter, and you've never read the book? How many of you have picked up a book and couldn't set it down? That's how you qualify them to hear your story. How do you give them a chance to step into your book club, into your story club? It's the phenomenon that says people do business with people they know, they like, and they trust. So it's part of your opening line. What's your story? If I were to ask each of you, and inside of the secret sauce, I am going to ask each of you to tell me your story. You're going to do a video on telling me your story, and it's got to be, and you're going to tell me your story, and you're going to send me the recording, or you're going to do it inside of the Facebook group. It's different than your introduction. If I say, hey, welcome to the stage, Laura Mendez. Hi, everybody. My name's Laura Mendez. And then the rest of your story. Does that story intrigue people? Does it hit enough of the points? Does it hit all of the bullet points that are necessary for a potential audience that you're talking to get them to go, wow, who is she? I got to know more. How did she get here? If she could do it, I could do it. What makes her special? How do I get around her? How do I get to know her? How could I ask her a question? Hi, everybody. My name's Sean Murphy. I grew up on a farm in Ohio. My first sales job was 5 years old selling corn off a hay wagon. From there, I kept my entrepreneurial spirit. I barely made it through high school, 0.9 grade point average. I'll tell you the rest of that story later on. I became an entrepreneur very early on. I drove by a lot of colleges, and I wound up having 7 different businesses, from steakhouses to rock and roll nightclubs to industrial sales. I had offices in Puerto Rico, so I dealt in the Latin market. I was traveling to St. Croix, St. Thomas on a regular basis. I came back from that, fell in love with the network marketing world by accident, thought it was an arm's reach away from purse snatching. In that time, my first year in network marketing was $80,000. Let me finish. In debt. So I've got the how to not do it. And then after that, I've gone on to build large organizations, 300,000 at the highest. I've currently part of a company in the last 24 months, have about 30,000 folks across Latin America. I'm a 3-time #1 Amazon bestseller. And all of that and 25 cents gets you what? 25 cents. Y'all have heard that before. But every time you hear it, it's like you almost know the story. See, that's the neat thing about reading the stories. Listen, if I go to Ephesians chapter 1, verse 4, it's going to be the same. I don't know what version that is. I just like saying Ephesians. It felt like coming out of my mouth. If I go to Ephesians chapter 1 or Job chapter 2, or I go to Psalms 38, it's going to be the same. Why don't they rewrite the Bible every year? I know some people try. But why is it the same thing over and over and over and over? Because they work. Your story should be the same over and over and over and over. Now, in the secret sauce, we're going to be developing and tweaking that story so that it hits all of the bullet points. You're going to be able to look at the audience and go, vignette. I pull this vignette in and I drop that vignette out. I put this vignette in, I drop that vignette out. And a vignette is could be a 3 to 5 sentence, 3 to 5 minute story. But you've already got enough content to move and motivate people. Every one of you have enough life experience. And if you think you need more, that's part of your life experience. You get to engage people to have them fall in love with you. That's the empathy. The empathy is going your way or it's coming to you. Can you have a conversation with people so that they feel empathetic, not sympathetic about your dialogue? So, Laura, I see you got your hand up. Good morning.
Good morning, Sean. How are you?
Outstanding, my love.
Happy Father's Day. Thank you so much for being like a dad to some of us.
Aw, what an honor. That is an honor.
I appreciate you so much. So as I hear everything that we've talked about today, the thing that I keep hearing, and I want to ask you, if that's, the purpose of doing this type of, I don't want to say presentation, but communication, is to start building retention.
Yes. Oh,
right?
Yes. Yes. That's the sexiest word I've ever heard. Retention.
Because I keep thinking, like, I was on like a Super Saturday yesterday for my company,
and congratulations, there was 3,500 people on that. That was awesome.
Yeah, and they had like a section about like how to present, right? And it was like one of the highest ranks in the company, and he kept saying hey, like, this is what you need to do. And he kept saying you need to give the same presentation over and over and over again and over again. And so I understand, I guess, the part of that being like practicing.
Yep.
But giving the same presentation, at least for me, I feel like I wouldn't connect with everyone if I give the same presentation. And then I hear you saying, like a conversation, for me, it's different than a regular presentation. So I guess my question is, if they're making the money they're making, right, and they present the way they present and they sign people up, is because that works for them, right?
Right.
So, and then my question is, why are they doing that? And it just seems like they're just so superficial, and yet they're making the same money that they're making.
Well, now, I don't know. There's a difference between you seeing them as superficial and them saying the presentation over and over. Have you ever heard the night before Christmas? What's the? 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. You ever hear that Christmas song, that Christmas story?
I think so, but you're gonna have to remind me.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So what if you went to sit down to go tell your kids, you brought your kids to see Santa to tell the Christmas story, and he said, "'Twas the night before Jingle Bells, and all through the RV, not a single bird was swimming, but you and me on TV." You'd be like, "What the hell is this? This isn't what I wanted. I wanted the Christmas story." That's what they're talking about. And when they say give the same presentation, the reason that it seems superficial is because that same presentation hasn't begin to flow into your life. When you introduce yourself to people and they ask you, "What's your name?" What name do you give?
Laura.
Why? That's the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
Okay, yeah, because my next question was, why do I feel like it's superficial? Because I get that, I guess, vibe from different leaders.
Right, because the what do we say in this? You're not in the business till the business is in you.
Yeah.
And what happens is that we're worrying about the words of the presentation because we haven't said it enough. We're practicing in front of an audience when we should be performing. And when you start to perform, all of that goes away. But too many people are practicing in front of the audience. See, if I go do a 1-hour presentation, if you had to go give a 1-hour presentation, I love you, you know that. If you were to somebody said, I said, "Laura, I need you to give a 1-hour presentation." How much time would you prepare? Do you think you would need to prepare for a 1-hour presentation?
Hours.
Yeah, like what? How many? 5, 10, 15?
I don't know. 10.
Okay. So
I should.
I'm going to go give a 1-hour presentation that I've given a dozen times. I spend on average 25 hours preparing for that presentation.
Okay.
I just prepare a lot more.
But you're preparing more on, I guess, the flow of the presentation, but you focus on the intention behind it, because that's a word that you said
Yep.
too.
Yep.
Intention. And I feel like then that's something that, even though I feel like they're being superficial, I don't know what their intention is. So there is a reason why they're signing people up. It might be the intention that I don't see, or I don't feel, because I don't know.
Right, because there's a part of you that says you don't deserve to sign people up. You want to.
Absolutely, yeah. I know that.
So when it converts, and when it turns into, I'm not worried whether they sign up or not. I'm just going to give them the best conversation, presentation, data, content, whatever you want to call it, that I have to offer. I'm going to be responsible to them, not for them. And in that, you'll find out that a lot of the presentation has a lot of engagement. See, world-class speaking gets monitored, and the easiest way to monitor a world-class speaker is at least twice a minute, once every 30 seconds. There's a reason for people to focus back in on the conversation. So that's why sometimes I'll have you write stuff in the chat, keep engaged, right? Because there's too many things, especially in this world, where you can be distracted. If I'm always bringing you back to say something in the chat, how does that make you feel? Even getting people to say, hey, listen, I'm watching you all on the screen. If this makes sense, nod your head like this. Nod your head yes. And you'll watch. Look, you can look at the screen if you're in gallery mode and everybody's nodding their head. Part of it is to get people engaged. People want to be a part of what you're saying, Laura. They want to hear what you have to say. Here's the tough part. Do you want to hear what you have to say? Sometimes, well, I don't like to hear my voice in recording. Fall back in love with it. Fall in love with it. I don't like to look at myself on video. Ugh, my shoes, blah, 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 blah. My hair, I can't believe. There's too many things that are keeping you from delivering the message because you're listening to other things other than your message. Do you have nieces and nephews?
Not yet.
Okay. Brothers, sisters?
A brother.
Okay. Yeah. Is younger or older?
Younger.
So, and how much younger is he? How many years?
7 years.
So when he comes to his big sister, there's sometimes you go, just stop. And then there's other times if he comes to you and he's really concerned or whatever, and he wants to get a hug, you stop everything and pay complete attention to him, don't you?
Yeah.
So I want you to go through what he did. I want you to go back and take some time and go through some moments of what he did or what he does that causes you to disengage from all of your other stuff. Everything else becomes a distraction, and now he's the attraction. I want you to go through that feeling. Because, see, you get to use that as part of your opening conversation. How old's your little brother?
He's 18.
So, listen, I don't know how many of you have a younger sibling. You could ask that in the audience. Let me ask this. How many of you in this audience, drop an S if you have a younger sibling in the audience? So now, Laura, guess what? You can have a conversation with all of these people that I can't have. See, that's part of your secret sauce. You get to talk to people who are 80 and have a younger sibling. Because the older sibling has an experience that no one else can experience. I can't experience. I'm the baby of the family. I don't know what
Yeah.
it's like to, right? So that's what makes your secret sauce. That's what allows people to connect with you. And then here's how you want, so that's a portion, that's a segment of society you connect with. You want to know how you connect with the rest of them?
How?
Anybody ever have an older sibling? See, now all of a sudden you've connected with people who have family. See, it's hard for you to talk to people who are only children. But you can have fun with that. So all of this is to say, how do you connect people? How do you pique their attention? See, if somebody was in here and all of a sudden you heard them say, Laura, you'd be like, somebody said my name. How many times have you been sitting at a restaurant or out someplace and you heard somebody say your name and it wasn't you they were calling, but you're like, were they talking to me?
Yeah.
Right? Sean isn't a very common name. So when I hear Sean, I'm turning around and I'm like, there's no, I'm in Panama. There's nobody here that should know me. But I'm still turning around thinking somebody knows me. How do you get people to feel like they're a part of your conversation? And repetition is the same thing. Here's the thing. If I bring a guest to watch you present and it's not the presentation I fell in love with and you change it up, I'm like, oh, son of a gun. She didn't tell the story about the blah, 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 blah. I wanted her to tell the story. That's what I love about her. That story. Could you imagine if I didn't tell the story? Hey, listen, everybody, I'm a 3-time Amazon #1 best-selling author. And that was my story. People be like, have you seen him on Facebook? He can't spell. How's he an author? But if I tell the farm boy story, if I tell I'm the baby of three boys, 3 sons, if I'm Irish, grew up Catholic, right? That hits a lot of people. You want them to say he's more like me than not like me. You want them to say she's more like me than not like me.
Yeah, I think I that's why I'm like excited about the secret sauce, because I know that there's a lot of things in my story that I can use. I just don't know how. And I keep going back to the same thing. And there's a reason why I keep going back to the same, I guess, part of my story that I tell in a presentation. But maybe I'm not, I guess, communicating it correctly. But I've noticed that when I'm genuine about telling that part, I get more energy when I'm talking, and then 2, more interaction with people. So I know that there's something about that.
Yep.
That I can use.
And the challenge with going back to the same story is like going back to the spot you peed in the pool. See, that part got everybody's attention. That made everybody smile a little bit. Right? It's like, oh, it's warm, but I can't stay here. So I say all of that to say, yes, that we'll continue to go through this story and you uncovering your greatness. I got a Father's Day coffee. Thank you, babe. Look at that. It's got cinnamon on it, and nutmeg, and whipped cream. I'm special. Yay. So yeah, but what they do is repetition is key. Now, the other thing is that what they didn't tell you is that they sucked when they started. We see them at how amazing they are right now. It's like you guys seeing me. The first presentation I ever did in network marketing, I can still see it in my head as the observer, was with a flip chart. A big flip chart, probably a 3x2 flip chart. And somebody said, could you do the presentation? I said, yeah. I held it. And I read it upside down like this. And I ran my finger across it. And I just read it. And I flipped the chart and I read it. And people said, that was the most brilliant presentation I've ever seen. I'm like, why? They said, because the presentation was short. It was 20 minutes because that's how long it took to read it. That's what marketing team designed it for. And you didn't add in any extracurricular stuff. I said, well, I didn't know the presentation. The challenge is that when we start to know our content, we think more content's better. Take this cup, for example. It's, I don't know, 28 ounces, 30 ounces, something like that. And it's got a certain level in it. And that level is to the top. What happens if I add more stuff? It overflows. Well, overflowing is good. Not when you're trying to drink your coffee. It's hot, somebody gets burned, and nobody wants to be around it, and it makes a mess. When you're doing a presentation, listen, imagine if you went in for, I don't know, you went in for surgery and you went in to get a broken arm fixed and they had to put a pin in your arm. Do you think there's a chance that the doctor would go, hey, listen, I'm a world-class surgeon. Let me go open up their other arm and put a pin in it. You'd be like, what the hell are you doing? That arm was fine. There's a certain point to where your presentation is fine, and it's called, in business, the law of diminishing return. In sales, we call it buying the sale back. When you spend too much time talking about it, it's buying the sale back. Does that help, Laura?
It does. I had another quick question. Sorry,
okay.
But I guess we're gonna talk about it at the secret sauce.
Okay.
When exactly, I guess, do you start telling part of your story? Do you try to do it like after you ask them questions and they engage with you, or like at the beginning, or how do you incorporate it, or just as it goes?
Well, so you start off in the beginning. Well, a couple of things. One of the and this is public speaking, but it allows you to be part of your secret sauce. If you can get people to physically move in an audience, they're not usually going to speak out. That's public speaking. A buddy of mine, Scott Schilling, some of you know him, say, hey, listen, by show of hands, how many of you have heard me before? And maybe a hand or two go up. And for the rest of you, how many of you, this is the first time you've heard me? And now the rest of the hands go up. So there is a little bit of humor in it and setting people at ease, because if you show up in front of the room and you're a little bit nervous, I don't care if it's a one-on-one or a one-on-100 or 1-on-10,000. If you show up a little bit nervous on stage, the audience eats that. And when they eat nervousness, what do they become? Nervous. Now, if they see you nervous and you tell them they're nervous, you're nervous. Hey, listen, I'm a little nervous. Can I count on you guys to help me out? By round of applause, could you, if I get nervous or screw up or start to lose things, by round of applause, can I get your guys' support? And all of a sudden, you've created a relationship with people. And in that relationship, they now know they can support you. They're now not watching to see where you fail. They're seeing where they can serve. And what's the thing that people do business with? People do business with people they know, they like, and they trust. See, they can like you if they're working for you. They can like you if they're serving you. They get to know you a little bit if they know you're human. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you so much.
Cool. Appreciate you. Let's go to Alex. Let's go to Serbia. Good morning, brother. Afternoon.
Good morning / afternoon / wherever somebody's listening to this. How are you doing today?
Outstanding, brother.
Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
That's a holiday actually for you, but it's also a holiday for Mason, right? Because he gets to spend 24/7, 365 with you.
Well,
so
I don't know that he'd agree with that, but
well,
it's a good story.
You gotta take a look at the optimistic side of things.
Absolutely.
But it's not kind of a question. It's a state of mind, I guess, or whatever.
Okay.
But lately, I realized that in the past 3 months, ever since I started taking action in the entrepreneurship journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
I figured that Many times I felt like, what in the world am I doing? Like,
Yep.
is this the way to do it? Is this the right way? Is this like, yeah? And
Awesome.
then, yeah, awesome. And I love that.
Frontierland. You got to love it.
Yep, and I love that. And then recently, a couple weeks back, I started, and this actually goes to with the story you told us a couple weeks back about those levels, like the 3, 4 a.m. stuff like that, like the
Yep.
clarity of the mind. And I actually started just like having, some days it's gonna be 3 a.m., 4 a.m., right? And I can't sleep all night. But then the other days, it's just gonna be like all of a sudden I get these moments of clarity where my mind just goes like on steroids, and it's just like boom, and I have like a very big clarity in the mind, like a huge moment of just like ideas popping.
Yep.
Yeah. And I realized that all of a sudden, like the pieces of the puzzle are just like coming together. And I started like reading all these books, and I actually started analyzing notes from your calls, right? And I realized how much have I changed in only a couple of weeks, and it's only been listening to this. It's like repetition of thought, right?
Yep.
And then I actually spoke with Luis, and Catherine. I don't know if they're on the call right now, but we had a call. It was like 8:30 for them, so it means like 4 a.m. for me. And I just pulled like, uh, yesterday was a long day. I pulled off like, I don't know, 14 to 16-hour day yesterday. It was just a mess, right? And Luis said something funny actually. I was like, dude, listen, it's a Spanish call with his community. So I said like, I'm just gonna be on the call. I'm just gonna listen to you folks. Maybe I'll get some Spanish done, whatever. And I'm not gonna bother you. I'm not gonna like talk too much. I'm just gonna like listen to you because it's like 3 a.m. in the morning, and I'm like working for the past like, I don't know how many hours. And then he said something funny. He said something in Spanish, and then because I obviously can't understand it all, he proceeded to explain it in English. And he said something about just keep holding of the vision, because we actually talked about this. We talked about this, just how the pieces start to come together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just realized that how much I've changed and how much it's awesome, man. How much is, as Oliver Wendell Holmes said, once you go to the next level, like the past level is just past. Like you you can never settle for less.
Yep.
And I'm like, I'm now feeling so sorry for all the people that don't want to hear this, like don't want to hear this, because I got some people on their call, but they ain't here anymore, and that's awesome. That's awesome. Obviously, it's not their place to be here, right? But then I still struggle with a thing. I think we actually talked about this maybe a month ago. When you want to help someone, right? And they did something to you without their even knowing, but they did something great to you, right? For example, for me, Philip, right? The guy Philip that was on the
Mm-hmm.
call about like 2 months ago, even without knowing, he did great things for me because he found me my first sales job in a US company right over here. We sold insurance, stuff like that. And that job actually made me pursue all of this, right? So without that job, I probably wouldn't be here. I wouldn't start doing my businesses. I wouldn't do anything with my life, probably. I would just go on a hunt for a college right now, right? Or whatever. And he did that for me just by asking, hey, I got a job. I know you speak English well. You want to try it or not? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So the only way to repay him, right, is to like do something for him. And then since I learned sales a lot, I used to do seminars. I used to read books. I used to follow Grant Cardone and Jordan Belfort and Dan Pena, and all these whales and sharks of Wall Street and stuff like that. And I actually learned a lot. And then I proceeded to practice with him, right? But then he just forgets it all. And I'm like stressing over here, like, dude, I'm wishing you the best. I want you to understand this. And he's like, yeah, I do. And then the next day he's like, who's like tiptoeing his way through life, doing the same things all over again. And sometimes it gets me pissed. But thanks to you, sir, and me, because I know you're gonna say it. Thanks to you and to me and to all these people, all these beautiful people on the call, I realized that, listen, if you want my help, yeah, let's do it. If you don't, yeah, let's just talk about something else, and I love that. So yeah, and all of those, this is the biggest mind blower for me. I don't know if that's the word, but if it's not, I just invented it. So the biggest thing for me is that you did that over a screen. Like, how's that even possible? You did that over like, we never met in life, and we are gonna meet, but
Right.
so far we never met, and you just did that by talking about stuff.
Well, it's
Yeah,
shown up, and I sit in my secret sauce, and
yeah,
I noodle myself, and I baste myself with it, and so I can if I try to get out of my secret sauce, it gets nasty quick. It does. It doesn't
yeah,
taste good, doesn't sound good. Here's the thing I would encourage you to do with Philip or anybody else who's led you along the way. Say, listen, I just learned some new things, and I gotta come back and thank you, because if it wasn't you bringing me to that first job, I wouldn't have got this. So I just wanted to send you a
yeah.
note. Thank you. And you leave it at that, because then you want them to go, wait a minute, what did they just learn that I didn't get to learn?
Mm,
It's about
yeah,
changing the way they look at it. Not, dude, I need you to learn this. That's making them buy.
yeah.
That's trying to sell them on it. They need to buy the idea. Hey, listen, I just got off a call. And again, I just want to send you a quick note, say thanks, because if it wasn't you introducing to me this path wouldn't have been open to me. So thanks for doing that. Wait a minute. What are you doing that I'm not doing? What did you just get? And that's the law of attraction. That's how
Yeah.
you throw a little bait out there and see if they bite. But I would,
Actually,
for
yeah.
the rest of eternity, sending him notes of thank you and gratitude. Just, hey, listen, I got another nugget today. Thanks, brother.
Yeah. But actually, as like I need to thank you and myself, right? But then you also made my life harder. You
Mm,
made my life harder a lot
shocking. Shocking.
because not because I think about things now. It's because now I see how other people, I'm not gonna say bad because we always did the things the best way we knew, right?
But how they challenge themselves, and they make
Yeah,
life a lot harder.
yeah. Like now when I know, quote unquote, all these things and the things we're talking about every day, I just now see how people, like you said, make their lives hard just like with no prerequisite. Like you don't have to do that, but they
Yep.
do it. And then I now come to realize that all of those calls I did with my previous company
Yep.
and stuff like that, I realize actually how much people don't see the big picture, man.
Yep.
All they see is the complaint. All they see is this and that and this, and I
And
wanted to
and
run away
here's the
from that.
thing. What's important with what you just said, and going back to Laura, is if we know that that's all they can see, we can't show them anything else,
Yeah,
because they can't see it. We need to ask them. We need to have them literally mentally raise their hand and go, "Ooh, I'd like to see something else." Okay,
yeah.
now I can show you. Yep.
And it just pisses me off. I was on that big call yesterday with the big guys from a company, right? And they're just like, years of work is just produced higher level of thinking and operating,
Yep.
And I was just like, just listen. I got like, I don't know, 10, 15 pages of notes from that call. It was incredible.
Yep.
And I was just like, well, and it was like 5,000 people on the call. And I was like, 5,000 people are listening to these dudes, and for like 4,900, 4,950 maybe even, are gonna go home. They're gonna read through those notes. They're gonna wake up tomorrow, and they're just gonna follow everybody else again. And they're
Well,
just gonna do this every day and every day and every and just like
4,900 aren't going to
circle.
read the notes, but that's
Yeah,
it could. If they did, the world would change.
yeah. And I was just like, well, why? Like, things are so simple. Keep it simple, stupid. Make things as simple as possible, but not simpler, right?
Yep.
And they are simple.
Yep.
Like, don't overcomplicate it. And like we're here talking about this almost every day, and I'm like just like, why didn't I know this before? This is so simple.
Well, because you didn't swim in this river, and now you're in this
Yeah.
river, and you go into another one. It's like, ooh, okay. So let me say who I can go help.
Yeah. And for that, I want to thank solely you and solely every person on this call who's consistent. I don't want to be talking sugar honey IT, but a lot of people come to this call, but very few stay on a Sunday for 5 hours. You
Right.
remember that Sunday a couple weeks back?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. So I want to thank you, the true Misfit Gang. Love y'all.
Well, everybody else has got a T-shirt. That's cool. Hey, listen, I want to change it up for just a second. Then I'm going to go to Elizabeth and Moshe. Real quick, if you, how many of you know Rhonda? Drop an R in the chat if you know Rhonda. Look at all the R's. How cool. Remember last Sunday we did some accolades to folks? Who's got something nice they'd like to say about Rhonda? Yeah, sucks to be you. Anybody who would like to jump in and say there's something nice about Rhonda? Raise your hand. I mean, just jump in. Unmute.
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning, Sean. Yes. Rhonda is such a authentic young woman, and she's very
Wait a minute,
transparent.
Rhonda, right? You're talking about Rhonda?
Huh? Yes, we're talking about Rhonda. Yes. And she's open and honest, and she's very sincere with her words because she's so passionate helping people find their inner self. So, I mean, this is honest. This comes straight from me. I mean, that's how I feel about her. She's someone who you could listen to, not only just you could listen to understand as her as well as yourself within. So that's how I feel.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead, Sharon. You got your hand up.
Rhonda genuinely is interested in people. She doesn't listen planning what she's going to say ahead, not listening. She is genuinely curious and open and really hears someone so that the story that they tell ends up being a better story than they even knew they had. And when she speaks, she doesn't speak, God speaks. I mean, when I'm in her presence, I feel like I'm in when I feel wrapped in the arms of God, even though I don't think I've had more than 3 hugs from her in my life. Those 3 hugs sustain me and fill me up because they're connected. And she, when I first met her, I was, and all I was talking about was these miracles and all the things that have happened to me since I got baptized 2 years ago. And she made me feel like it was okay, that I wasn't crazy, that I wasn't the only one on the planet who had gone through this transformation, and I felt safe. I feel safe with Rhonda. I feel like she brings out what's highest and best in me all the time, and that she never makes me wrong for when I'm not at my highest and best, but she has a way of making a space for me to maybe look at it an other way. So when she does that, I change in that instant. I take it in because I know it comes from love. And frankly, I don't know how she got this, but she's got this direct conduit up to heaven. And I don't even know if there's a Rhonda there. There's just kind of, she's called Rhonda, but I don't know that that's who she really is. Anyway, besides that, she has the most beautiful long hair. I used to have hair down to my waist when I was very young. And that's what I wanted it to look like instead of a long, stringy, hippie kind of look. She's just moves it around. She's just absolutely beautiful in the most unself-conscious, unaware of how incredibly wonderful she is. So I could go on for an hour, but I'll stop. I love
Um,
her.
who's next?
Can I go?
Go ahead, Heather.
Rhonda is such an amazing soul. To meet her on these calls is completely different than to be in her presence. But yet, she's not phony. She is exactly the same. And the time we get to share with her on these calls is 100% authentic. And I got to we got to room together, and it was so much more than just being around her, and the vibe that she gives off, and the the uncanny way that the uncanny way that she makes you feel included and loved and valued. And Rhonda is just, she definitely does have a direct connection with her higher being. And she is just one phenomenal being, and I'm just so happy to watch these transformations that she's making and the way that she gets to impact all of us on a daily basis. Like the wisdom that comes out of her mouth and the way that she gets to touch each and every one of us, it is invaluable, and she is just super important, and I'm super grateful to be in her presence daily.
Thank you, Heather. RC, I saw you on mute, brother. Where'd you go? He was just here. We'll get him when he comes back. Who else? RC, you back?
Yeah, that's Rhonda. I was just talking to Rhonda.
Rob Cardenas. Your phone working, brother?
Hold on.
We'll come back to him in a second.
Well, I'll go next whenever Rob.
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Hey, everybody. Happy Father's Day, Sean.
Thank you, my love.
Hi, Rhonda. I see you. Okay, so my first interaction with Rhonda was the day that Sean threw her on, like without even no warning. She's like, oh, Rhonda's taking over. And so that was the day that I graduated, but not graduated. And I remember I was feeling so sad. And another thing that I love about Rhonda too is her accent. I used to live in South Carolina and in Georgia. And now that I'm back in Cleveland, I miss that accent so much. So whenever she speaks every single day, I'm like, oh, I just get a little bit of that like Southern accent. I just love it so much. It just like makes me want to move back down there. But anyways, Rhonda just like welcomed me. She was like, you know what? Like, you deserve this. Like, she just made me feel so special, brought me to tears, like on camera. I was bawling my eyes out. I'm straightening my hair. And then she gave me a task to do, and I did it, and I posted it. And then she even put me on her page. She was like, this girl, she put a mask on. She said, come celebrate joy with me. And she just like brought so much joy into my life. And I was just like, God, I love these people so much. Like, she just is so welcoming. And I don't know if Rhonda's psychic, but like your spiritual level is just so like, psychic is the only word I can put to it. I'm like, is Rhonda psychic? Like, she just either has a connection with God that like I don't have, or I don't know, but I just love that part of you so much. I'm just like, oh, I want to ask her so many questions like, and talk to her every day. And I love her weight loss journey. You're such a strong person. You're beautiful. Oh, your skin is flawless. I freaking love you. So my take on Rhonda.
I love it. RC.
Hi, guys. I was having some audio issues. I couldn't hear a lot of it for whatever reason. Anyway, listen. Rhonda, I love you. I mean, you are another little sister to me, and I appreciate you so much. I've had the benefit of being, involved with, well, a lot of our calls, watching you grow. And I wish this for myself and for everybody on the call. I mean, it's just been amazing, you know, from front row Rhonda to the, you know, the oops, the camera's on, to, you know, to all the different little things over, you know, I mean, these are some great stories, guys. You got to, we'll all hear about them. But I mean, but I just, it's, you are a unbelievable mother. You're a great spouse. You're just a genuine person that wants to just help and everyone. And, you know, and I thank you for also allowing me to re-tap into, you know, what is inside of me. You know, as I've shared, there's, you know, through my own trials and tribulations, you know, there was a little bit of me that was lost, and you've helped me also, you know, get some of that back that I always knew was in me. And so I appreciate you very much, and I love you. It's been just, again, awesome. I mean, you basically, you know, again, folks, for those who don't know, look at the old videos. It's like, Rhonda, oh, I don't know if I belong here. I don't know if I'm, you know, whatever. I mean, she was the little mouse in the back, and I don't know, whatever. I mean, no joke. This is what
No joke.
who she
No
was.
joke.
And but you know, and we were just all, a lot of the early group was just like, yeah, no, I mean, go ahead, sit there. You know, I mean, I used to be that person where I didn't know who the big dogs in the company or wherever, and I'm grabbing people and pulling them on the dance floor and this and that, whatever. And then, you know, the next day people are like, that's that guy. You know, I mean, but that's who Rhonda is. I mean, and she just, you know, again, put herself in the place to actually learn and grow, and that's what you need to do. So I love you. All the best.
I love it. Thanks, RC. Those are huge words from a very dear friend, from somebody who's been, you know, misfit number 2. I was number 1. Who else has something they'd want to share?
Sean, can I say something?
Yes, please, Anne.
Rhonda, wow. I'm probably going to get emotional whilst talking, which is why I don't have my camera on. Wow. I mean, you are such an inspiration. And I mean, for all women, not just the ones on the call here, but like, I love seeing you on Instagram. You know, you just show your true self. And I always watch you and I'm like, I want to get to that place. And, you know, sometimes on these calls, like you have your video on and I literally just watch you. Like I hear Sean speak, but I watch you.
Oh, thanks. I love you too. Listen, if I had a choice between looking at me and looking at her.
And I saw yesterday you were like doing your daughter's hair whilst being on the call. And then sometimes I see your husband in the background. And it's just so amazing to watch you like navigate like your life, but your personal life and your business. And that's something I think most people struggle with. I know I do. Like as soon as my family's like, oh, can we have a bit of family time? I'm like, I've got this and this to do and that. And then, you know, I see you and you're just so effortlessly like, oh, I have to head down to Father's Day. And I'm like, wow, like how does she do all that? And she's so great on Instagram and she's doing well in her business. Like, it's just so amazing to see. And also on one of the calls, I remember you coming up and you were so vulnerable and you read your journal, which actually inspired me to read my own journal. But you said that you wanted to be like Sean. And I was screaming at the screen. I was like, I want to be like you. Like the way you speak to people through your heart is so amazing. Like sometimes like you're just, when you speak to me, I'm like, how did she know that I was thinking that? Like, how does she hear that? Like, how do I get to hear? Like, I don't hear that. When people speak, I just hear what comes out their mouth. I don't hear their heart. And I was like, does she have some sort of like special that I don't have? What do I need to do to get there? So I like watch you and, you know, you're so beautiful as well. Oh my God. Like your hair, your skin, the way you are and the way you speak in and pour into people. I cannot even, you know, like I know my words are all jumbled and I'm probably not saying this properly, but oh my God, the things you have done for this community. I think the reason most of us are like beginning to be confident is because you speak to our hearts. You make us feel confident about ourselves. I know Sean is there as well, but like you as well. So thank you, Rhonda.
Yeah, and that's one of the great gifts that I have, is to have Rhonda be able to speak to all of you, because I talk about it all the time. People will ask me, this daily awakening thing. I go, yeah, well, we had 13 countries on this morning. I said, but the thing is, there's so many powerful, strong, young women entrepreneurs. I say, and I'm blessed to have this East Texas soul who can speak to their hearts, because she could say the same thing I say, but when she speaks to them, they're all like, oh my God, she's a queen. I get it. I get it. I get it. And I'm like, yes, you get it. Okay, good. Good, 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 good. Who else has something
Sean,
like?
sure, Sean, we just used to have you talk all the time, you know, so that got boring after a while.
No, absolutely. And I love it too. That's how, and I usually find a place to go, like when I know Rhonda, I get this feeling Rhonda's in the middle of something. Rhonda, what do you have to say? I'm in the shower. Let me just jump out. Who else has something they'd like to share to Rhonda?
Well, I'll say something.
I'll go.
Go ahead, please. Who is that? Go ahead.
It's Diane.
Hey, Diane. Yes.
I don't have a video today for some reason. My computer is really acting up.
Okay.
But Rhonda is an amazing lady, and she has such heart that you feel it through. I mean, I've never met her in person, but I can feel it through our calls. And she's a spiritual angel, and I love her to death. And it's she has such wisdom when she speaks, and her perspective on things. It makes you see her from her perspective, which is really a neat thing. So thank you, Rhonda, and happy Father's Day, Sean. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane.
I'll go.
Okay, go ahead. Hi, Laura.
Rhonda.
Uh-oh, buckle up.
I know that we haven't gotten a real chance to kind of talk, but I remember that one of the first times that I got on the call and it kind of like opened up, I remember you sharing a book with me, and you were just so real and so genuine and so speaking from your heart. And I think everyone like that has spoken right now has said that. And I believe that that is because you are, and when Sean was like, if you want to say something to her, what would you share? And I thought about light. You are light. And that is because, you do have a true relationship with God, and I think when that is a true, genuine relationship, you become light to other people. So we're not in the same business together. What you say to me doesn't give you anything, I guess, from your business, but at the same time it does, because you also understand that what you put out comes back to you, even if it's someone that you're only going to talk to for 1 second, that you're putting out that love that represents Christ. And for that, I'm getting emotional, but thank you, because you are an example of that. You are an example of what we are called to do as examples of Jesus, in this crazy world that we live in. So I just want to thank you for everything you do for us and for everything you do for Sean, because I know that you also mean a lot for him. I love you.
Thank you, Laura.
Can I chip in real quick?
Sure, absolutely, Michael.
I actually got a funny story to tell Rhonda. So I had like a lot of spiritual breakthroughs, obviously, from her. And it's funny because she reminds me a lot of my mom. So after like the calls when like I'll talk to Rhonda about like God or something, I'll go right to my mom and tell her what I learned. And like we'll have a cool conversation about that. And I really want my mom to hop on these calls one day and meet Rhonda and see what like how amazing it is. So that's what I wanted to say.
I love it, Michael. Thank you. Yeah, she's a pretty unique soul. Who else would like to share something?
I need to get some Rhonda in my life.
Okay. Go ahead, Moshe, and then we'll go to Jessica.
I'm here eating some French toast, guys. That came at perfect timing. This plate is just as beautiful as Rhonda is. Like, when I first got on this call and I heard Rhonda talking, like her voice just makes you want to meet her voice just so they can dance together, you know, because we're in across the screen, and the closest thing that we can get to you right now is that sound of your voice, right? That is the power right there. And your intention and your attitude, and the way that you make people land on soft pillows with your voice is like what I love. Every time you talk, you make me feel like I'm laying in bed, just like, in heaven. And I wanted to share something really quick. um I'm not a person who likes to sit in my sorrows, because I know that creating action with pure love and intention is going to create that love, right? So as I was sitting here, I'm so excited because it's quote unquote Father's Day. And finally, it was going to be the day that I get to see my kids, right? That the woman that I was with was finally let this man who's been like struggling and fighting to see his kids, get to see them. And then she pulls back, right? She pulls back. And guys, I want to let you know I'm sitting here in gratitude because I'm in appreciation that, you know what, life is going to do that to all of us all the time. And we're going to have a Rhonda, right? We're going to have a Rhonda to pull us back, right, into the joy, right? That when you stare at her and you look at her and you listen to her voice, that no matter what the moment just happened, you're going to smile, right? And you're going to say, I got this. Thank you. So I thank you, Rhonda. I'm sitting here, my energy it is what it is, but I know that because I have you guys, everything's going to be fine. So I love you guys. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
I still have a question later,
We'll get back to questions in just a second. Yes, but yes, that's why I'm not lowering anybody's hands in case they got a question. So let's go to Jessica. Hey, Jessica.
Hey, Rhonda. Oh, wow. You know that Wonder Woman t-shirt you have? That is you. Like now, if I see the Wonder Woman sign, I think of you, because I can just tell that you're the best mother, you're the funniest sister to Sean, you are just everything. You're the best role model. And honestly, that day when you had the journal with the clasp and you were like, this clasp, it goes, that was that was magic. And when you explained your journal and you were vulnerable and you said, these were my thoughts, I don't share this with anyone, I felt like I was at a seminar and I'd paid lots and lots and lots of money, honestly. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, I wanted to go and get the popcorn and I was like, this is going to be the best thing. And it was amazing. And I was like, my journaling skills are rubbish. Like, you used to talk about your journal and I write the most rubbish questions to myself. So you are an angel. You are Wonder Woman. You are, honestly, I can't put into words how good you are to everyone. And just like everyone says, you speak from your heart. I don't know how you speak from your heart. Then you give them your opinion, and then your analogies are something else. Like the basketball analogy, I was like, I have to write this down. I had to write down. That was my favorite, honestly. And those analogies are the things that people like me, because I'm a visual person, will pick up and go, I get it. So thank you so much. I love you.
Thank you, Jessica. Let's go to Sana. Sana, where are you at?
Yo, 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 can you hear me, Sean?
I love you.
Yo, first of all, can we all drop an S if Rhonda's ever made you smile on this call or in your life at any point? Let's see those S's rolling in. Whoa, look at all those S's. Yo, Rhonda, I believe to be beautiful, it means to be yourself, and you are exactly that. Your transparency, honestly, on Instagram, I love watching your posts and your stories and all the things that you do with the kids. I just always watch him. Like, I just watch him over and over. I'd be like, yo, this lady is so amazing. And you got the most beautiful smile ever. I love your curls. And lastly, when those tears come rolling down your cheeks, Rhonda, that just makes you look even more beautiful. So this unique pink robe lady, we love you so much, and thank you for being you. And thank you, Sean, for this call. I appreciate every single person that's here today.
Awesome, Sana. Thank you. I love you. Thank you for
I love
sharing.
you too.
Yay. Who's next? Oh, Gigi. Good. Good. Gigi. Gigi.
Oh God. Okay, let me try not to cry either. Rhonda, don't cover your face.
Don't you cover your face. Don't you cover your face.
What can I say about Rhonda? She's just such a genuine person. She does speak from the heart, but she has the gift to be able to hear other people's hearts as well and be able to tell you exactly what you needed to hear, but you didn't know that you needed to hear it. And from the time that I started getting on these calls, seeing her growth has been amazing. Seeing her hosting calls by herself, even though the first one was, I would say, a surprise, but being able to just see her just come into herself and becoming and developing into the person that she was meant to be just shows everybody else that we can do it as well. I tell myself, I'm like, if Rhonda can do it, I can do it too. And she's just, yeah, she's helped a lot. And I know she's the type of person that she'll dust you off, you know, she'll fix your crown, but then she'll give you the kick in the butt that you need to be like, all right, let's go. I just love her for just being there always, even though there's times where she didn't have to be there, and also helping me with my walk with the Lord, finding the Lord again, because I've been telling her that I felt like the Bible was calling me to pick it up, but I didn't know where to start. And she gave me a place to start. I appreciate you for everything that you do, not just for me, but for the world and this community. I love you so much. And I can't wait till we meet each other. Why do I always cry? Okay, I'm done.
Because it's cry worthy. Absolutely. Leo. Uh-oh. Let's go to Leo. Leo.
Hello, hello, hello. Good morning.
Oh, shirtless Leo. Here we go.
It's a little hot here in New Jersey, so Rhonda, please don't pass out. Please
You're
don't
gonna get hot on this call now, let me tell you.
I definitely want to take a moment, Rhonda. From the moment that I heard you speak, I love what Moshe said. It was as if I was landing on a soft pillow. I think it's more of feeling a wrapping of a hug around me from the Most High. It's the resource that you are, the voice that you are for us, the love that you are for us, that makes it so profoundly amazing. You know, I love you in the Latin word adorare, which is adore, the root word for adore. And I adore you so much for who you are for us, how you step up and you're always standing for our greatness, how you allow us to hear your thoughts, how vulnerable you are with us, because it really shows the humanity within you, but it's also within us. And that relatedness that you share with us, man, it's tremendous. And I love all these moments on your Instagram where you share your family, you share your children and your husband, and your smile is the one thing. Anytime I think about Rhonda, I always think about your smile. It's your smile and your curls. That's smile, curls, pink robe. It's that trifecta. And anytime I think of that smile, it makes me automatically smile because of the joy that it brings. And I'm so enamored by you. I respect you. I love you. I admire you, and I adore you. Thank you for always showing up, Rhonda. Because just like Gigi said, you have brought the Lord and you brought the word back into my life, along with connecting me with people like Moshe and Jeremy, Brandon, everybody on this call, Gigi and Sean, and you know, everyone on this call is just that again, it's similar to the electricity in the house, and there's all these outlets, and just somehow, some way, we're able to plug in and get electrified. And that energy right there is what zaps us with love for the day and for the week, you know? So I just want to say thank you, Rhonda. I love you so much. I hope I hope you have the most amazing, amazing day. And always, thank you always for bringing the word into our calls, because it just gives us that alignment. So thank you so much. And I read my devotional every single day. And that devotional I got because of you. So thank you, Rhonda. I love you.
Sean, can I jump in?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
This is Bob. Rhonda is like this wise little sister. And I've enjoyed watching her grow in her wisdom. I've enjoyed the relationship that we've built over a bit of a period of time. And our conversations have always been, from the first one that we had, like I've known her 100 years. I want to thank Rhonda because my gut tells me that Rhonda is a big part of why faith is a significant part of this group. Not that we are unaccepting of others who may not have the same faith, but so many times when we are in a call of this nature, not that there's any call that's just like this at all, but something business related, faith is typically not a part of it. And I so value that it is. It's very important to me that it is. And I thank Rhonda because my gut tells me she had a significant part of that happening. I love you, Rhonda, and thanks for being you, young lady.
Aw. Thank you, Bob. That was awesome. Who else? Bukumi. Bukumi.
Hello, Rhonda. Hey, Ron. I can see you're like tearing up. I'm tearing up too, hearing everything, because I just love you so much, and I love what you do for everyone, and I just keep like everything that everyone was saying just kept bringing me back to the moment when you first spoke into me, and it was on my birthday, me and Gigi's birthday. And I still remember that feeling that you made me feel, and it was horrible. That sounds so bad, but it was horrible because it was like, because I was just saying stuff. I don't remember what I was saying, but you didn't listen to any of that rubbish. Like, you didn't hear any of that. You saw right through that facade, and you spoke into me immediately, and I just was like, oh my God, like, who is this woman that lives across the pond that just saw right through what I was saying? And it just was like the most beautiful and horrible feeling at the same time. And I was just so grateful that someone could finally, I don't want to cry, but someone could finally see right through and see my heart. Oh my God. But someone could finally see my heart and see the person I wanted to be. And I'm just so grateful for you, because I mean, I didn't come back immediately after that because as I said, it was horrible. So I came back like 2 weeks after that. But I knew I wanted to come back because I wanted to continually learn from people who wanted to see other people's heart and wanted them to walk around with a light in their heart. And I just wanted you to know that I'm so grateful for you, because it's not just what you do for me, but what you're doing for the people that I will interact with and the people that they will interact with. And it's just going to be a piece of Rhonda that's just going to go down and down the line, like, and it will just reach the whole world without you even realizing that it's reached them. And it will probably reach Australia, and I probably will never go to Australia, but I will touch someone who will touch someone else, who will touch someone else, and that's all because of the fact that you touched me and you saw my heart. So I just want to say, thank you so much, and I'm very, very grateful for you. Like, I was even in a terrible mood, but then everyone was like, let's speak into Ron, and I was like, yay, let's do this. So thank you so much for just being Rhonda and just stepping into yourself. I love you so much.
Outstanding. Who else?
Me.
Okay, go ahead. Jimmy!
Rhonda, I love you. I love you so much. She's so welcoming, such a welcoming person, so loving. I know, so patient. and just
Wait
I
a minute,
know I
Rhonda?
have.
Did you say Rhonda's patient?
Yes, with me she is. I know I haven't taken like full advantage of all the love she and all her patience that she has to give. Um, I feel like she's just mama bear. Like she just wants to love on you so much and make and share her happiness. Like she truly wants to see us happy. And you're my mama bear. I love you so much. I know she cares for my children even though she doesn't know them. I know that she's always for the rest of my life gonna care about me even if we lose contact or not. I know that she's always gonna care, and I love you for that. And I love you, Sean, for pouring into Rhonda even on Father's Day. It's just so amazing to see this energy and giving love like this. I love you, Rhonda. I love you so much.
Oh. Who else wants to share and give a little?
I'll say a couple words.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
So, I've only been on this call for about a month, but, Sean's great, but the first day after he was done talking, you talked right away, and I felt your love and your energy just as much as, Sean's great words. So this room couldn't even be where it's at and the impact that it has without you. You're going to affect millions of people. You already have, just based on what Bakumi said. I mean, it's a chain reaction of energy and love. And I mean, for how many people that you've helped, that you've talked into, I mean, that energy, that love is it's just growing. It's just growing. And Sean's great, yeah, but we can't do this without you either, Rhonda. So thank you.
I just carry your bags. Thank you, Jeremy. Anyone else?
I'll say a few words.
Hey, oh, here we go.
Hey, Rhonda, just wanted to come on here and can everybody hear me? Because I'm getting a phone
Yes,
call now.
I hear you
Okay,
great.
Okay, just wanted to come on here and just say a few words to you. You are definitely loved. You're warm, you're caring, you're supportive. Your joy, your smile. Every time I go on your Facebook and the first thing I see is that smile, and I'm just like, man, it just lights up my day. And so I just wanted to hop on here and just let you know that I appreciate you, because when we first met on these calls, these amazing calls, I was kind of in a lost state in terms of like my spirituality and what I believed in, different things like that. And you took the time to have a conversation with me, and just lit that fire in me a little bit, and sent me a morning devotional, just like Leo said with him. And I read it every single day, and it's just a great way to start my day. But then also, it's always great to see you on these calls and your smile, and that lights up the day even more. So I just wanted to tell you that I love you and I appreciate you, and just thank you for being you. Thank Robe Lady.
I love it. Thank you, Brandon. Has anybody checked out Heather?
Go.
Yes, Daniela, you're next. But Heather's there with her dress and her little peanut with the same dress on. Look at that. They're the same dresses. They look like twins. Mini.
That one too.
Go ahead, Daniela.
They're so cute. I just want to say thank you, Rhonda, because you are full of love. Just like that. You're full of love. Sometimes you send me those messages, just being grateful, and those messages came like in the right moment, at the right place. I feel God talks through you for a reason, and I just feel the love, of the caring, and I want to say thank you for your life. Thank you for helping us and teaching us. It's crazy how everyone agrees that somehow you connect us a little bit more with our spirituality. So that's just amazing. Thank you so much. Love you.
Thank you, Daniela. Who else? Samantha. Go ahead, Samantha.
Oh, hi. Hi, everyone. Hi, Rhonda. Okay. When I first jumped on the call, I didn't realize you started with prayer. And that's why I started getting up earlier. One of the things I really like about Rhonda is like, it blew my mind when I first heard her prayer. I was like, prayer is something we hear every day. I must say, everybody pray. But there is something special about Rhonda prayer, and you could feel it. It's sincere. I have to get her contact, because when I need prayer, she will, I could sense her relationship with God in her prayer. And I really appreciate that. That's really good. I mean, to be praying like that, you have to be, you have to have a relationship with God. It's not just like, okay, say a prayer and that's it. So I really appreciate that about you.
Samantha, that's probably, that ranks up there as one of the big compliments in her, because I know how that hit on her and landed on her heart. So thank you, Samantha, for saying that. Yeah, it's not bless this food and let's pass the mixing over the right.
Yeah. Because if you asked me to pray, I was likely 1, 2, 3. But her prayer is really different. Her prayer is really straight, like connection to God. It's like
it's totally in the moment, and it just, you can almost hear him saying it through her. So yeah, I love that about her too. Yeah. Who else? Anyone else would like to share something?
I just have to have an addition, because I remember one day
Round two.
one day when I said to Rhonda, you hear the Holy Spirit, I don't hear it. She said, oh yes you do, you just don't recognize it. And that's what gave me the courage to start actually having a conversation with Jesus that fills me up in ways that I had no idea it would fill me up. And she has helped me to hear myself and my relationship. And one of the nice things somebody said yesterday on my call was that they saw my personal relationship with Jesus, because that's what I'm going for developing inside myself, is recognizing that. And I don't know that it would have ever happened without Rhonda in my life. So I thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you, Sharon. Anyone else?
Can I speak, Sean?
Yes, Corinne.
Rhonda. I also, when I got on this call for the first time, it was right when you started praying, and immediately I knew that this was the place I was supposed to be. There's certain signals, there's certain signs that people have and get, that tell them, that they're in the right place. Sometimes it's deja vu, sometimes it's a number, sometimes it's a particular thing. But when you were praying and you were speaking those words, I knew that my place was to learn from this woman, because she has gotten to a place where she is a woman, and a woman in Christ that is just herself. She doesn't have to do anything. She doesn't have to be anything more than herself. You showed me how to be me because you are yourself. You're the epitome of what this call is trying to teach us, that we are powerful in our own being and in our own place. And I remember, like, when you helped me through my process, and you're continually helping me through my process, you only help from a place of allowing Source to speak through you. And we are so thankful to have you as the feminine energy in this call. And you also teach me, and Moshe will definitely will comment on, will agree with this, that I have to learn as a woman that we work together, and I don't have to be stronger and I don't have to be weaker, but I have to be me. And it's powerful that feminine energy that you bring you're uplifting men now during Men Health Awareness Month. You know, you're uplifting men and calling, you know, especially Leo and his sexiness and all that. It's just like, it's a beautiful thing that I don't have to compete with men to be me, because there's no competition anymore. It's only cooperation. And you have taught me that from everything from your pregnancy stories, from everything from all your stories, Rhonda. Every time you speak, I immediately get up and I'm like, okay, what nuggets is she going to drop today? Because it's nuggets on femininity, nuggets on being sexy, nuggets on putting, you know, getting ready for your husband, nuggets on everything. And you, like, by yourself have made this call, not by yourself, but you bring so much to this call that I can't even, you know, explain it in words. So
No, Corinne, you're right. By herself. When she speaks, she is by herself. She's with us, but you are absolutely right. There's nobody else that can replace her. So I love what you shared. Anyone else? Because I got a couple of words.
Hey, Sean, can I share one more thing?
Sure, Latoya.
You know, I should share this the first time I went, but when Rhonda shared her journal, that was an aha for me. Because at first I was like, what she's doing? we don't share her journal. What you doing, Rhonda? This danger zone. Time out. But she took this breath. Yeah, she took this breath like, I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it. Because she knew she had to pop that lid. I think that was her popping lid moment. And it was like, Toya, it's okay. Let her do her thing. Just hush, girl. Stop wrestling with it. And when I sat there, I was like, oh my gosh. When she shared her journal, I was like, oh gosh. I'm looking at all the participants. See, has anyone left? Like, well, I hope everyone sit here and listen to this to the end. But I was at sea because I think I was overthinking. Like, when you are programmed to say, oh, you don't share certain things in your journal. We don't share that. You know, you're a woman. You're supposed to keep things to yourself. But that was an aha moment. Like, no, Toya, we're not average people. she popping that lid, and when she popped that lid, it let me know that it's okay. It's okay. And thank you, Rhonda, for letting us know that it's okay to pop that lid, to be uncomfortable and facing it and growing through it. And you're in the right community, and in a perfect community, because this community gonna change many generations. But I just want to thank you, Rhonda, for putting me in that place that it's okay to share your deepest moments, because I think that's where we pop our lid at, where we could share that moment. That let us know we could pop our lid and just and grow and watch our cup overflow. And thank you, Sean, for letting me share that one moment, because that was an aha moment for me. And thank you.
And I remember when you told it the day after, you were, again, just as emotional and funny about it, going, no, what you doing? What you doing? Why you run?
Kick that box, Rhonda. Oh my gosh, you kicked the box. Oh my God.
But this is what humanity is about. And it's about having that fun, and it's about hearing those stories. So I love it. Yeah, it's so Daniela, Delia, did you have something you wanted to share about Rhonda? I see you're back now.
I believe that Rhonda has perfected her secret sauce. And although I don't know her in person, the day that I met her, that came across. I believe she has the ability to apply joy with everyone and everything minute by minute. So she's so authentic. That's why we all love her so much. And she inspires me, because I know that if she did this, I can do it too. This is very, very, when I met her that afternoon that Sharon called me, do you think I wanted to come into your business when I was in a business? And this is what I have to think when I talk to prospects. No, I was set up in my business with my coffee.
Yep.
But her energy, her loving to me was so authentic that her energy grabbed me. And those atoms got together and I said, oh, wow, I cannot let this go. This feels good. Thank you, Rhonda. You are radiant because you have Christ in you every second of your life. I see it. Thank you for letting me share.
You bet, Delia. Thank you. So, yeah, I'll just say a couple of words. To have a little sister that I never had, to have somebody who got in a car, drove an hour, told their family we're getting in the car, and they're like, for what? Well, we're going to surprise Sean on his birthday. Really? Really? That's what we're going to go do? And she did it, and she's standing there in my hallway. And I instantly looked out, am I wearing pants? But this is somebody who cares. And for all of us to get to watch her, it's an amazing journey. And to hear, kind of like she says, sometimes she has the backstage pass to my life. I have a backstage pass to her life. And y'all just made a huge impact in her day, because we all go through these valleys and we all need a little pick-me-up. See, I get to be in a place to where I can ask a community of amazing souls to pour into a very dear friend of mine when fear and doubt is showing up, and let faith and courage from each of you remind her of just how important she is to all of us, to remind her how amazing she is in the world, and to remind her, for her to lose her mind when an old story shows up, that she impacts the world every day. And if she chooses to not show up, okay, but we're not going to let her not show up for long, because we need her. I need her. Y'all said you need her. So that being said, watch your face. Rhonda, would you like to close? So, and if anybody else has anything they'd want to say, feel free to. I'm going to go back to questions now, but I wanted her to hear that, because that's what big brothers do. You can embarrass your little sisters. So
I will say as best as I can, thank you. And that voice y'all say I have might be a little different at the moment. But rest assured, the words that you've said bring the smile and the voice back eventually. I needed y'all today. And I needed every one of those words. And I thank you so much. You have no idea.
I love you.
Oh,
Yeah, we love you.
I love you. You are so freaking cute too. Oh my gosh.
I'm Doc.
Oh, I love y'all so much.
I love you.
I love you, baby girl. Oh, what a sweet little thing. Oh my goodness, look at you. Oh my goodness. Oh, I just want to pinch her. Oh, I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for pouring into me. Thank you for lifting me up. Thank you for straightening a crown when it gets a little sideways without telling the whole world that it's a little sideways. And know that what you did for me today, you have no idea the magnitude of which you touched my heart and you lifted me up. And it takes a really strong, loving community to do that. And you did it without hesitation. And I noticed. And Sean has taught me to be a really good spotlighter and to help shine the spotlight. And he's always said, when you shine the spotlight, inevitably somebody will eventually ask, who's that shining the spotlight? And y'all asked today. And I am snotting into my daughter's t-shirt because I didn't have any Kleenexes, and I'll probably have to go wash it like crazy. But it's all stuff that needed to come out. All those emotions and snot and tears and everything are things that needed to come out that don't serve me well. So thank you so much. I love you all. Sean, thank you for taking a day like Father's Day and spotlighting me. You know how much I love you. I love y'all.
Yay. This is what we get to do. This is what the world is searching for. This is what the world is wanting. Somebody to just say, hey, you're important. I love you. Snotty nose or not, I love you. Thanks. Thanks for sharing that. We can't unsee that, Rhonda. Thanks. Appreciate you. Wait. This is a beautiful moment. Here, check out my snotty t-shirt. Well, there's that East Texas. You can buy them books and buy them books, right? Elizabeth, you had a question. Let's go to questions.
Hey, it's not about like business or anything. I just wanted to ask why I have this like phenomenon that keeps happening to me. And I think some of you guys might know, I'm not sure if you saw it on my story or not, but so I was really close with my grandfather. He passed away when I was 13, but we were like this. And like my whole entire family was like, oh, you were like his favorite because I was the only girl. And so when I was living down in Georgia and I moved back home to start my life all over again, it was in 2012. And so I went to his grave and I found a 4-leaf clover because I was like asking him to show me a sign. And I was like, oh, okay, like, and I told my mom and I told my grandma and they were just like crying. They're like, you know, that's so beautiful. So the next year I went to his grave on June 20th, 2013. And I go there and I'm sitting there praying to him and talking to him. And I look down on his grave again is another 4-leaf clover. And I'm like, that's so wild. So I've been saving them. I literally have them. The first one that I have, I put on the back of the last photo I took of him. And it's actually still green. Like it didn't like decay. But the one from 2013, it like turned yellow a little bit. But I keep that one at the bank. And then in 2014, I went again. And I found another 4-leaf clover on the day that he passed away. And there's been other days that I've gone there and I don't find a 4-leaf clover. It's just always significantly on the day that he passed, which was yesterday. So 2014, I have 3 4-leaf clovers. 2015, I was in Punta Cana. I couldn't make it. 2016, I was pregnant. I don't know what was going on. I didn't make it that year. So then like, so forth. Yesterday was the first day that I went back in 6 years. And so I go there with like this expectation of, I know, of this expectation. You want to say hi to them? Say hi to them.
Noah.
Hi. So anyways, I go there and before I even get there, so my grandfather, what did they do? He sees Rhonda. So before I get to the cemetery, I'm pumping gas and my grandfather's name is Allie. And I'm thinking of my grandfather. My grandma just texted me. I was just like sending her a grateful text message. I was like, hey, you know, I'm just grateful that you're still in my life. I know my grandfather passed away 20 years ago. I'm still happy that you're here with me because I'm still close with her. And as soon as I said that, she wrote me back. I look up as I'm pumping gas and there's a guy with a truck with his vanity plates that says Allie. And I'm like, oh my God, that's my grandfather's last name. I'm like, what are the odds? So I took a picture of it, sent it to my grandma, and she's like, wow. And I go, see, he's around us. And then when I get to the cemetery, I find the tiniest 4-leaf clover on his grave. I'm like, what are the freaking odds of this? Like, does this happen to anybody else? Mommy, what's up? I'm falling. You're not falling. I got you. So I just didn't know if like you guys have any like intuition or perspective on that, because I feel like I don't know how to explain unknown things like that. And I looked up the odds of what would happen if you know you found a 4-leaf clover, and it's like 1 in 10,000. But it's like, what are the odds of finding it on his grave on the same day that I go there to visit him?
Oh, do you believe that your thoughts can influence your day?
Yes.
Do you believe that your grandfather's connected to you?
Yes.
That's all you need to know.
Rhonda, you hear him? He's asking me if you're going to come over. Yes or no?
He's gonna come over. Yeah.
Ask her.
Wanna come over?
Oh, we could play and have so much fun. I would love to come over and play. I could bring the little ponies.
She's going to bring the ponies, Noah.
Or the platypus.
Who has a toy platypus? Who has a stuffed platypus? What world do you have to live in to have a stuffed platypus? Has anybody ever seen one of those before?
It's named Perry the platypus.
Well, I know Perry the platypus. He's got to have yeah. But who has a stuffed platypus? Who goes and gets a stuffed platypus? That should just explain everything. Everything you thought you said before, how brilliant she is and how amazing she is. She's got a stuffed platypus. The little ponies I can go with. So, Elizabeth, the fact that you see your father's license plate, here's the question. The thing I would do next time you see somebody's got a license plate, I'd go over and ask them, what message do you have for me? That's my grandfather's last name. Where does that come from? See, all too often we have these moments and they kind of slip by. But when you see something that is that emotional, that's kind of like the story about the guy who winds up dead in heaven. And he goes, Jesus, God, St. Peter, I was telling everybody I was waiting on God. He goes, I sent you the guy. I sent you the car. I sent you the truck. I sent you the boat. I sent you the helicopter. What the hell are you doing here? Right? This is the same thing. You're getting all of these little notes. What I would do is I would sit down with that 4-leaf clover, the littlest, tiniest one that you just saw. And I would sit quietly by yourself without as much distraction as you can and say, hey, Pop or Grandpa, whatever you call them, say, what do you have to share with me? What do you want me to pay attention to? And I would listen. Oh, she got kicked off. Yeah, Elizabeth, I just gave you some great ideas and you got kicked off. So I'll repeat them just quickly.
I was like, no, I see Sean's voice talking, and I was like, oh, what's he saying? What's he saying?
So here's what I would say. The next time you see a license plate that is as oddball as what you saw, your grandpa's last name, I'd walk over to that person and say, hey, listen, here's something odd, but the license plate you have is the name of my grandfather. So I don't know, and it's not a very common name. So could you tell me why you have that as your license plate? Is there a message, something that I need to hear from you? Because you showed up perfect timing at a gas station, the license plate that's absolutely insane.
Yeah, believe me, I wanted to. I thought he was gonna like yell at me for taking photos and videos of his car.
Well, no, but I would tell him why you're doing that. And then the next thing is I would sit with the 4-leaf clover. I would sit with all of the 4-leaf clovers that you've collected over the years, quietly in a place where you can listen without distraction and say, hey, Grandpa, what lesson can you teach me? And listen, and you'd be amazed at what you could hear.
Oh, I wish I did that.
No, you can still do that now. Take the 4-leaf clovers that you have, all of them that you've collected, and just sit quietly with them on a little coffee table next to you. Think of some memories of them and go, hey, whatever, what did you call him? Grandpa, Papa?
Papa.
So you ask him and say, hey, listen, Papa, tell me the messages you're wanting me to learn. You sent a car, right, with your license plate on. The guy probably looked at his license plate, goes, how the heck did that get on here? Little things like that you might be amazed with. But that's what I would encourage you to do that.
All right, thank you. Because I feel like I'm just gonna look forward to next year. I'm like, all right.
Don't wait 364 days. Have a conversation now, and you can have a conversation with him every day, because he's definitely when you're looking for him. Here's the thing: when you're looking for him, he shows up. And guess what? If you look for him every day, guess how often he'll show up? Because that's how much he loves you.
All right, thank you. Yeah. All right, Noah, say bye to everybody.
Bye, buddy.
Bye, Noah.
Bye, Noah.
Hi.
They can hear me? Yeah, they can hear
Yes,
you.
we can hear you.
We can hear you.
You know, you have a nice day too. So, so here's the thing. Life will present to us when we start to get into our secret sauce and we start to find our highest vibration. You can absolutely connect with that vibration, because that's one of the first universal laws. Energy is. The desk, the cabinets, the couch, the chairs, the car you're sitting in, nothing is still. Everything is vibrating. Everything is energy. And all it does is come out of form, into form, and back out of form. Right? Everything that's ever been created has come from a form called a thought. Energy is. Somebody asked a question here. I have a question. You mentioned that your dad is your mentor. Could you tell us something from a story that came from your dad? Everything comes from my dad. My dad used to say, nothing is overpriced. It's undervalued. Any job can get done if it doesn't matter who gets the credit. My dad I went to TVA, Tennessee Valley Authority, on a sales training out of high school. I spent a year with my father, 365 days, going to wherever he went, sales trainings, to the office, whatever. That was my university degree in personality and human nature, was spending a year with him. It was a master's degree. We walked into one event. It was one sales meeting, right? We're dealing with maintenance facilities, maintenance guys who aren't necessarily the highest of highestly educated individuals. They don't have master's degrees and PhDs. These are country folk who are working in paper mills, right? And you know where paper mills are. They're not usually in the metropolitan area. And we walked into this one paper mill. My dad had invented something called flatbacks in the paper industry, because they're pneumatic airlines that blow the wood chips around that help make paper. Well, the wood chips, when they're blowing, they would always hit the radius. They would always hit the radius of an elbow. Well, the inside of the elbow never got wore, right? Imagine this is an elbow and wood chips are being blown and they're always wearing out the back part of the elbow. So my dad came up with the idea of, what if we just cut the elbow down the center and we replace the part that's wore out? They're called flatbacks. Well, when you deal with long radius elbows, you're talking 18-inch, 20-inch pipes. You're talking a long radius elbow. That pipe could be 12, 13 feet long. And when you're drilling holes in these flanges, right? Flanges, and you're putting a bolt through them. When you're drilling holes in a flange that's not being removed, you've got to match it up. Well, sometimes there's something called stack tolerance. Long story short, if you're a 1/16 of an inch off and you've got to drill 40 holes on that side, you could be a 1/4 inch off and the bolt won't go in, so that the flatback can't be put in. Well, we had an order of about $55,000 worth of flatbacks that went bad. They got called. Now my dad's company was doing very well. He was the vice president. So we got on the private jet. We flew to that location because it was a come to Jesus conversation. After 2 hours, we walk out of there. They wanted to kick us out of the plant. They wanted to throw away all of the stuff. They wanted all of their money back. They wanted us to pay for the downtime for the facility, because they had to re-drill some holes and they had to do other things. They wanted us to pay for an order from it. It could have been about a $250,000 day of loss. We walk out of there. They kept the flatbacks. They were excited and they placed an order for another $100,000. That was the mentorship my dad taught me. To take a situation that is absolutely a poop storm and turn it into a $250,000 loss to a $100,000 order, and they were happy all about it. That was the skills my dad had. My dad had his secret sauce. And in understanding that, it's taken me years to find mine, to understand that. But when he would do that time and time again, even in the restaurant, when people's orders would come out wrong, he'd say, if the steak was overcooked, he'd ask him, well, do you eat leftovers? Yeah. Well, when you warm it up again, aren't you going to overcook it? Why don't you just take that one home and I'll get you, and you can order another new one. This way here, you get 2 meals. And people would buy the second meal. I mean, it was crazy what he could do. But it was because he heard the people and he fell in love with them and they fell in love with him, and neither one wanted to disappoint the other. All too often, he was responsible to them, not for them. And if they really got upset, he'd take it off the bill. But my father was the professional salesperson. He wouldn't sell anybody anything they didn't want. He just figured out a way for them. What's that phrase we say? You can bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. My dad would make everybody so thirsty, they would want to drink anything he was selling. He just learned how to make people thirsty for fun, thirsty for a story. My dad would give people would do the craziest things. And this is when I learned this. This is, and you'll not see this in any marketing brochure. The only reason people buy from you is so they can brag. That's it. And my dad understood that. He never told me that, but I got it. The reason 29 of you are all still here is so you can brag. Is so you can brag about being a part of this. So you can brag about having poured love into Rhonda. So you can brag about being part of the story. Does anybody recognize Heather Love? I don't even recognize her right now. Does anybody? I'm like, who is this supermodel that just jumped on here? And I'm going, that says Heather Love, but what are you talking about?
It's Father's Day,
Yeah,
and I got a reason to put on some makeup.
So that's a story. That's an example. Let's go to Moshe. Hey, Moshe. Moshe in the house.
Hey, Sean. How's it going?
Outstanding, brother.
Oh, man. I appreciate every one of you. You know, we all keep having these breakthroughs, and, you know, with this moment that just happened with the pullback, right?
Yep.
It just is like God just sent me the key, an extra key to life, right? He's like, you've been speaking about all this energy and this meditation that you've been doing, and you've been giving people all this wisdom. And he just told me, I'm gonna test you. I'm gonna.
That's what I was hearing. Let's see how good you are. Let's see if you're a good student of your own.
Exactly. I'm gonna pull on your biggest string, right? And you know what? Thank you, Moshe. Because yes, I found the sauce.
Yep.
Like, now I know that nothing can crush me. I know nothing can get in my way from achieving everything that I want.
Yep.
And
you have a chance, joy or misery, and you chose one.
And, you know, as I'm sitting here and I'm listening to all of you and sharing all this love, and, you know, I'm watching you communicate with people and just learning from the language of the body, the language of of just a look, the language of a compliment, of what it does to the vibration of the soul. Like that right there, you know, you guys, without even knowing it, took me from a state where I almost let it defeat me, but because I have so much love and abundance around me, appreciation started to show up again and again and again, right? And I don't know about you guys, but Alex J, I'm ready for the Alex J podcast, because this man, I could listen to him all day. I love his energy. I was sitting here, Jen's here with me, actually, guys. She came to New York to see me.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Jen, how are you, love?
Good, and yourself?
Good.
So, you know, Jen, I call her Wonder Woman because she's that strong. And, you know, just sitting here is such an honor, guys. Like, I want to give you a picture right now, because, you know, I was written a message, like I just received a message and said, you know, the bags were packed, they were ready to go, but then I thought about the feeling and I couldn't. Guys, please don't pack the bags and be ready to go, and not step into it, as Sean told me, and not take that trip and purchase your free ticket of life, because it's free. The decision is free. And, you know, I wanted to share that with you guys. Like, I purchased my ticket. Now I'm ready to go to the next stop. It's probably Texas to meet Sean.
I'm coming with you. Everything you said is so true.
Thank you, Heather. And you know, Sean, I wanted to ask you, from the kindness of your heart, what would be 3 things that you can give a man like me with the strength that I know I have, with the ear that I know that you know that I have? What would be the 3 things that you can give me to allow me to continue to be on the same level with leaders like yourself, right? But also not, you know, overshadow anybody's like state.
So the first thing I would encourage you to become brilliant at, you're brilliant at hearing the answer for folks. Turn that answer into the question so that the answer you share is what you can give them. Too many people are not looking for the answer. They're looking for a way to distract themselves. So when you come up with the answer, when you come up with the guidance, the homework that you know that they should do, work it in your head, pause, hold on, go, this would be something that would serve them well. How do I turn that into a question? And so that's number 1. Number 2 is the thing they're asking the answer for is not what they're asking for the answer for. It's deeper. You know that because you've given people answers and they've not done it because that wasn't the answer. That was an answer to a question they didn't care about. So as you have a conversation with people, say, hey, listen, do me a favor, ask that question again, do that again, using different words. And when you hear them use the different words, don't be surprised if it has nothing to do with the first conversation that you had. And say, and then the third part would be, is it okay if the story changes? Because what I'm about to answer to you, what I'm about to give you is something that got downloaded to me, but it's something different than probably you've ever heard before. Maybe you've heard it before, but never have taken action on it. And there's no sense me repeating what I'm about to say if you're not ready for the new story. What changes if you have a new story? And then in that is the answer to the real question. See, everybody wants an answer to the current story they have in hopes that it'll give them a new story. They can't hear the answer to a question from an old story. They're not asking the question from the new story. They're only asking from the old story, hoping it brings them a new story, and it can't. It's impossible. Somebody goes to read the Bible, they're asking for a new story. They can't stay not believing in God and read the Bible because otherwise it's a waste of time. How many times do we mentor people and it seems like it's a less than productive moment in time? It's because they're not asking for the new story. They're asking for justification for the old story. And when we give them an answer to the new story, it doesn't match the old story and they get stuck and they go, wow, that's brilliant. Oh, I never thought of that. Of course you've never thought of that because you never thought about the new story. So those would be 3 things that I would encourage you as you continue on this path. Because here's what happens. If you time, when we're in dialogue, when I'm in dialogue with people on these calls, if you time who does more of the talking, who does more of the talking? They do.
That's the number 1 thing that I've paid attention to, and I've shared that with Jen.
I'll give an outline, but when it's time for dialogue, I'm going to listen to you more because you know what the next step is. You know what the thing is that keeps you up at night. You know what the thing is that wakes you up in the morning in stress and panic and fear. You know what the thing is you're afraid that's going to come across your cell phone when it bings. You look at your email and there's something in your email that you know you don't want to see. I don't know all of that, but I know you know all of that. And so if I can get you to acknowledge that you know that, now I might be able to guide you. I might be able to lighthouse and say, there's some rocks over there. You're heading towards rocks. That might not be the best thing for you to go towards. What would happen if you turned away from those rocks? Well, I'd be in the ocean. Great. Well, are you trying to get to the ocean, out in the ocean, trying to get to dock, trying to get to port? Where you want to get to? What's your new story sound like? And when you give people a chance to tell their new story, it's sometimes the first time they ever hear it. So those would be the things I would encourage you, is to sit there and ask, isn't that interesting? A little bit more. Tell me a little bit more. Go a little deeper. In science, they say, and in sales presentation, you literally sometimes have to go 5 or 6 times deeper than the initial question. And you can't sit there and go, hey, okay, great, tell me why. But you've seen people do, if you go why 5 times, then you'll get to the why that's real. I want to do this, why? I want to do that, why? I want to do this, why? I want to do that, why? I want to do this, why? Now we're to the emotion of it. Our goal is to get people, listen, my job, my responsibility is to talk you out of your success. And if I talk you out of your success, you can now have future gains, because your success has gotten you here. Doing more of what you got, doing it harder, faster, stronger, is just going to get you what you got. This is where getting into your secret sauce keeps you from having to stay stuck. Not one more book, not one more training, not one more thing you need to do other than uncover what's inside of you. And once you uncover what's inside of you, now we can start the car moving. Now we can start the fine tuning of the sails. And listen, you find your secret sauce today, you unravel it, you unload it, you unleash it. There's going to be a whole new secret sauce that's going to come up in 90 days. This is why it's a 90-day cycle. So those would be some things I would encourage you to, because you have the gift to be able to use those. You have the cadence in your voice. You have the tone in your voice to do that. Where most people have to work on slowing down their voice. The ability to allow people to hear the question, allow them to hear them asking the question. And do what Covey says, seek first to understand, then be understood. Because I used to just mow people over with all of the answers. Oh, great. Okay, so you're this, because I could read people instantly. You should do this, 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 and this, and this, and this. Oh my God, how did you know me? Blah, blah, blah. But because it was my idea and they had to buy it, they agreed with it. They had to buy it. See, everybody would love to have an exotic car, a Rolls Royce, a Lamborghini, a car that's paid for. But they won't do it because they haven't bought the idea that it's possible yet. I can't afford that. People sometimes can't afford the leadership and mentorship that we give to them. Show them that they can afford the next step. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Cool. If it makes sense, it'll make dollars. That's what my daddy taught me. Gigi, you're up.
That's
little difficulties. Hi.
Hi, Gigi.
Hi, everybody. Happy Father's Day, Sean, and all my fathers.
Thank you.
I feel like my heart is so full seeing all these babies, because if you didn't know, I love the kids. So I'm so happy right now. But what was I going to say? Yeah, thank you, Moshe, for asking that question, because I've been feeling like I get downloads, but when I get the downloads, it's the answer to people's questions. And I'm I don't want to just give them the answer, because then I'm okay, now they just got the answer. And it's if I give them the answer, are they really going to do what the answer was?
Right.
So thank you for asking that question, so a way that I can configure that. What else was I going to say? Yeah, yesterday was a very interesting day. Because after I was on the call, and then I donated the money to Anne's campaign, yes. I went in the mailbox and I got a check for $600 that I wasn't.
Yeah, let's not do that again. Holy mackerel. Don't do that again, ever. Never, never, ever.
And I was I was not expecting this check. And I was wow. And I almost cried. I was oh, thank you, God. Because I didn't expect this many, but I know I needed it. And I was ooh, thank you. And it was just, wow. Yesterday was just a good day. I made my video. I posted a video on my IG story. And yesterday was just, it was a good day.
So, law of attraction. And I bet if we look at, I think it says in the Bible tenfold. I don't know what you gave yesterday, but was it tenfold?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. No. No.
It was better than double.
Yeah.
It was better than triple. So what if everything we gave out came back to us in triple? And see, that's how God works. He wanted to surprise the living bejeebies out of you. He made Ann get uncomfortable. And Ann went and got, I don't know. I want to, I get so nervous and I don't want to ask. I feel uncomfortable. And she asked. And when in that asking, imagine if she didn't ask. Imagine if that check didn't show up. You want to hear the hard part? You want to hear the hard part that somebody's going to go, well, that's not true. Imagine all of the people in Yemen having to go through what they had to get Ann to ask. So for Ann to ask, then all of a sudden you to give, and then you give, and then all of a sudden to receive back, and then you to tell us the story, and now all of a sudden somebody else might give a little bit more, somebody else might give someplace else, and in giving more, the challenge is that it's not sometimes as obvious as going to the mailbox and it's showing up. Sometimes it is.
Sean,
Yes.
I want to share in reference to the 3 pointers that you gave Moshe and Gigi.
Yep.
I believe that what I went through with my sister 2 days ago can illustrate exactly what happens when we don't stay in the joy or the enthusiasm. I'm going to play the dialogue and then you can dissect it and show us the right way, if I may. It's short.
Sure.
She calls me up and she wants me to come over, and I said, no, not today, next weekend. So finally, before we hung up, after an hour, she says, do you have 90 people in your team? Did I hear right? I said, we have recruited 90 in our team. Then she goes again, but do you have 90 in your team? We have recruited 90 together. And then of course I deflated because I didn't stay in the joy. So as I hear you with the 3 pointers, here's what came up right now. Do you want to grow a team of a 90? I got the person. I should have said that. So I'm learning.
And so, yeah, so the response might be is that, no, I don't, but I know I'm working directly with the ones who did it last month, which means I'm close enough to it that it can happen for me.
Thank you.
Awesome. No worries. Great conversation. Listen, you're having these conversations, which are amazing and awesome. So I applaud you for having those. Awesome. LaToya, I see your hands up. Is there a question, or was that from earlier? Or
first of all, I want to say great day to everyone. Sean, I just really want to just compliment you. Compliment everybody on these calls, because from the past, I have layers on top of layers. And
I feel like I get a front row seat at comedy night. This is just, your stories have such humor woven into them at a high level. It's amazing.
Yes. It's like hearing everybody just being transparent. It first made a decision, right? And then it led me to here. And at first, Sean, I was like, well, it's like just like the other calls. This was in the beginning, okay? It's like the other call. Maybe I could get on whenever I feel like it, right? Mm-hmm. And then it was like, Toya, but you made a decision to change. This is part of change. And it's like, okay, let me be on here. I got to be on here every day. Not like religiously, but like, because it's part of my change. And everyone on here, including you, Sean, and I just want to thank you all for being transparent, because I come from a place where you don't be transparent. Like, you don't share that to her. You gotta be straightforward and don't go in depth with it. Just you don't tell people that because they might look at you crazy. Or they might judge you. So I never did share my transparency with anyone. Like I may be like, if it's like come push to shove, I may share it, but now I just like be getting straight to the point. But I just want to thank you all for letting me know it's okay to pop that lid of transparency and be open and to get an answer to use the answer to better ourselves. And this is a beautiful community. And no matter where we're from and what roles we're coming from, we all are connected on a higher level. And I just want to thank you, Sean, for just, man, you all changed my life. From point, over to my brother passed and I'm boo-hooing, Let me tell you something. It was like my old story. If I decided to be my old story at that moment, you guys probably wouldn't even know why I chose to be content, or I probably would never been open. And that moment where I still showed up, because I almost thought I wanted attention for myself. Because, you hear things like that, and the wrong person will be like, oh, they just want attention. I'm like, she gonna have to deal with that. Why she brought that on the call? But I fought that and showed up on the call. And it was like, I'm having this issue, And I just want to thank you all. I'm about to start crying. Oh, my gosh. God. Okay. Woo, let me laugh because I don't want to see tears for some reason. But I just want to thank you all for letting me know it's okay to pull the layers off. I know one day, one of the layers going to expose to the point it's something I have to change. And I just want to thank you, Sean.
Well, Latoya, you have marched to the drum that is called you. And in that march, you have left a lot behind. You have given us some courage that we would have never had and could never get from anybody else. You have become an ingredient in a lot of people's lives. I know in mine, you are this ingredient of joy, of freshness, of reality, of pure emotion, and pure gratitude. Because it's one thing to get you through a hard moment like when your brother was here. It's another thing for you to come back and relive that and say thank you to the community for helping you through that. Most people don't have the courage to come back and say thank you. You do that. You are this incredibly powerful soul who deserves so much and so many thanks from us. There's no words for it. But here's the two words that I can say. Thank you.
You're welcome, Sean. And you know what? These calls, I'm in on plenty of calls, like communities, but this one right here is just like, wow, it's a whole nother level. It's like, yeah, it's not ordinary call, like I could, get on here and just listen and just, okay, have a nice day, everyone. It's just like, and more like, yeah, I could relate, like, wow. Then I could start thinking back, when I had that similar experience, like, wow, how did I deal with that? But what can I do if that experience comes back? How can I respond to it now? And with great leaders like you, Sean, allow me to embrace that I'm a leader myself, and you shine that light on us that we all are leaders. I think what it is when we see people like you that's at that pinnacle state, we oftentimes would look at like, well, he could do it better than us. Well, he's great. And then we take it away from ourselves. But if I say, well, Sean is that leader, but I'm so grateful that he helped me find a leader within me. And that's a whole different level. Now I'm able to embrace these calls, like not just listening and just like, well, okay, I got to be on these calls because they say you got to be coachable. I'm just be on the call and just listen. It's more like, okay, wow, how much choose the joy in this today? Oh, wow. I get these aha moments. So now I'm right with my left hand consistently. It looks so nice and neat. I can't tell if I wrote with my right hand or my left hand now. So I'm getting the aha moments. So I just want to thank you all for being part of the journey of growth, man. I couldn't do this without you all, but because of that one decision, you all play a huge part. You guys just don't know. Girl come from what they call the hood, and I have stories from almost, want to join gangs and stuff like that, but that's a whole, like, I'm gonna write a book about that myself, but thank you.
Latoya, thank you. And could y'all, Rhonda, could you imagine Latoya and Kayla having a conversation, leading a call about their gangs and drug life and dealing with?
You know, I was just sitting here thinking, when I think of, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
When I think of Latoya and what she just said, the Sean Murphy voice inside of me struck up real clearly. And what I heard for Latoya is, thank God I've partnered with a family or with a company that helped me walk into a gang that's like a family to me.
Yes.
And all my life I've struggled with entering the wrong gang, and I fought my way through, and I finally found a company that allows me to enter into a gang that's like a family that has my back.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, you all.
That's huge.
I do have layers on top of layers, but Rhonda, I'm telling you that when you read that journal, that gave me that aha moment. I'll never forget that day. You gave me that aha moment, like, Twiz, start pulling them layers off. Like, stop.
I have to go back and listen to it because it's on YouTube. I got to go back and listen to that because that was.
Just thank you so much once again, everyone. I love you all.
Love you too.
I love you, Latoya. And you know what? Your layers make you fascinating, and your layers make us lean in. And as you pull back a layer and we see it, we'll smile and laugh with you. We'll get shocked and awed with you. We'll cry and we'll snot with you. And as you do that, more people are going to want to lean in and hear what? Oh my God. And you're going to give some other young, beautiful Black woman that struggles in a ghetto somewhere is going to hear your story, and you're going to inspire her to go be what God made her to be and to live the abundant life that He has for her. So I'm going to encourage you, and I'm also going to be swift kicking your little laughing butt into tell your story, girl.
I can imagine you going out there to the field toy. Boom! Don't hit me with the boom.
Exactly right.
Love you.
Love you, girl.
So awesome. And we're going to wrap up with Bakumi. Bakumi, Bakumi, Bakumi.
Hello.
Hello.
I want to say thank you, Latoya, for that, because I wrote a lot of stuff down about that actually, and you really, really helped me understand a lot. And I feel like I was like, oh, should I still leave my hand raised, because you just left it on such a beautiful note, and I was like, oh, I don't want to like change the energy. But I wanted to ask, please. I feel like there's something about there's so much about myself I still need to unlearn, of course. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm just in a rush to unlearn everything, but I feel like something about success specifically, and like, I don't know, but I feel like I need to unlearn it because it's stopping me from getting to the next, like stepping into the next, what am I even saying? Stepping into the next step, like getting to the next, oh my God, I can't even talk English and it's my first language. Getting to the next level.
Yep.
I feel like, and it's just frustrating because I can see this abundant life for myself. I can see the successful life for myself.
Yep.
But it's like I'm missing the whole bridge to get there. Like I'm missing like, it's like there, but it's like I keep falling into the river rather than like walking on the bridge.
Yep.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Perfect sense.
But yeah, like I don't know. I don't really know what I wanted to say. Like I just like.
So do you want to keep falling in the water?
No, but I don't know how to get on the bridge.
Well, you're on the bridge, but you keep falling off. So here's where the challenge is. There's no handrails. You didn't say the bridge collapsed. Follow me on this. Listen to the words you used. You didn't say the bridge collapsed. You just said you fell off. You didn't say there was no bridge there. There's a bridge there. You didn't tell me how long the bridge was. You didn't complain about the journey. You just kept dunking in the river. Is it okay if we put handrails on your bridge?
Yeah,
And how big do the handrails need to be?
just big enough so I don't keep falling into the pond.
Yep. So let me ask you this. When you go to head across the bridge, are you crawling or walking?
Definitely walking.
Okay, so the handrails need to be a little bit higher.
Yeah.
And do you want the handrails to be pretty, or that if you bump into them, that it's okay? Or do you want them to be like all nasty and gnarly and barbed wire and razor wire?
I just want them to stop me from getting into the pond.
Okay. So, but it's
like-
okay if they look pretty. It's okay if they add value to your bridge, right?
Yeah.
So what's the bridge about?
What do you mean?
What's your bridge for? Why a bridge? Why do you need a bridge?
I don't know. I feel like, I mean.
No, you need a bridge. I'm asking you why you want the bridge. Why do you want the bridge? The
So I can
simple
walk
answer
to
is
the other side.
Yeah, to get from here to there without doing what?
Without swimming.
Yep. So let me do this. You ready for a little exercise?
Yeah.
I want you to go stand on the other side where there's a solid ground at the other end of the bridge.
The side that I'm on right now.
No, you're on this side. I want you to go stand on the other side. You're not there, right, mentally, but I want you to mentally picture you're standing on the other side. And now you're looking back to your starting point. You're at your finish point. Now you're looking back to your starting point. Can you do that?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're already on the other side of the bridge. You haven't crossed it. You're just all of a sudden, poof, you popped over there. And now you're looking back at the bridge. Can you tell me based on looking at the bridge, is the bridge even? Is the bridge tilted? Why do you keep sliding into the water?
It's like a triangle bridge.
Ah, so it's got a point.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know why my bridge is like this, but it's like zigzaggy, but like it's not like a regular bridge.
Got it.
It's like zigzaggy, but it's like tilted on both sides. So if I miss it, it's over and I have to start again.
So if you're standing on the finish side, if you're standing on the other side, how'd you get across?
I went on the bridge.
Okay. And how'd you make it across the bridge?
By walking on the bridge.
Okay. So how did you not fall in the water?
I don't know. It's just walked.
Okay. So now, can you go back to the other side of the bridge? Go back to your starting point. Same bridge, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now you know you got to the other side. Can you start walking across it? Can you walk across to get, you just said you walked across it, however you walked across it, whether you walked on the tippity top. But you know you can get across the bridge now, right?
Yeah.
Does it matter if there's handrails? Because you're not going to bump into them.
No.
So what if you walked across it now? How long would it take you to walk across this bridge? Now that you know you can get to the other side. You just said, I walked across the bridge. You know you can walk across the bridge. How long is it going to take you to get to the other side?
Did you just like reverse psychology me? Like
This is helping people get their secret sauce. I'm not going to sit here and discuss why you fall in the water. I don't give a rat's butt if you fall in the water. I want you to get across the bridge. We don't need to understand why you fall in the water. The falling in the water sucks. Why would we talk about that? But yet everybody wants to talk about that. Let's go back. Tell me about your parents. Screw that. Let's get across the damn bridge. Then we'll have a conversation.
okay. Because I think that's my problem.
Yeah, you're trying to justify why you don't belong on the other side of the bridge. I just popped you there. You don't even have to walk across the bridge. We just showed up. We could just show up and go, that was a good bridge to walk across. I don't remember walking across it, but I'm already over here. I don't need to worry about that. So which do you want to do? Do you want to walk across the bridge, or do you want to go poof and be on the other side? Which do you want?
I'd rather to go poof.
Okay, so poof, we're on the other side. Tell me what you see. Don't look back at the bridge. Look forward. Look into the frontier. What do you see?
It's like it's just like a garden. It's like there's
Awesome.
flowers everywhere.
So you want to go? You want to poof back to the other side and bust your ass trying to get across the bridge, or do you just want to stay here?
I'll stay with the flowers.
Okay, good. Poof, you're on the other side. And when somebody asks you how you get across the bridge, say, "I just did it. I poofed over." All too often, you'll find people who will say, well, what do you want to build the bridge out of? Oh, God, somebody shoot me. Do you want to... Is it going to be a strong bridge? Are you going to lash it together? Screw it. Why do you need a bridge? Poof. It's a dream. Poof over.
So do I just need to do that with all of my like fears and doubt? Just go poof. You never existed.
Yeah, well, not that they never existed. They allowed you to poof. They're all part of your story. Otherwise, when you're on the other side, you're like, ooh, there's something empty over here. That's all part of it. It got you here. It got you to have the courage to poof. And when you poof, that's what everybody wants. That's what people will pay you for.
For poofing.
Yep. Y'all know I'm not normal, and
yeah,
I'm not. I don't have degrees. I'm certified in a whole bunch of stuff because I paid some money and passed the test. But that still doesn't mean nothing. None of them, not in one single certification, they go, listen, are you qualified to poof? I need to know. Do you know how to teach people how to poof? Yeah. That's the higher level. That's the advanced level. If you can teach people how to poof, you can get certified. Nobody ever asked me. And when I look back and I go, your bridge is triangle, I'm like, holy crap, what the hell is up with Bukumi? She's got a triangle bridge. What kind of crap is that? I don't even want to talk about that. There's a whole nother level of story there. That one's going to take some couch time. So let's just put the hell over and get over here, because I don't know what kind of crazy mumbo jumbo booby you got going on with a triangle bridge. Anybody ever walk across a triangle bridge that slides off both sides? This is like Ninja Warriors. What the hell's going on? Life's not supposed to be that tough. Poof! You're now certified, Bukumi. You can poof the heck out of your life.
John?
Yes.
Can I share something with Bikini?
Yes. Say it with an accent. Poof!
So today I watched Sadhguru's live, and he showed this picture of a fish, right? There were two fish and it had a speech bubble. And one fish, it says, can you tell me where the ocean is? And the other fish is there and he goes, yeah, you're in it. And I was laughing my head off, and I felt like it's connected to this. You're just like, what's this triangle bridge? You need to poof. You're already.
See, this is why I love what I get to do. So what do? I've joined a company that teaches me to poof all over the place. I'm sorry, what?
This is the most whack thing I ever heard in my life. Just imagine Jessica, Bukumi, and Am just like running towards someone and say, excuse me, sir, can you poof? Yeah, please, poof. I can't
Would you like a six-figure income for poofing? What?
That's what we could do. They would run.
Right. And so listen, instead of saying you should be trading, say you should be poofing. Then you'll get some attention. Listen, it's
sad words.
that's yeah. We're poof masters. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, hashtag Leo, you should be poofing. But see, that's all we need. We need to break the pattern interrupt. That's all we need. We should be breaking the pattern interrupt. Because I don't know who's ever seen Dora the Explorer, but all I kept hearing was when she's going to the bridge, the grumpy old troll and swiper, no swiping, swiper, no swiping. That's all I kept hearing. Poof. Backpack. Mason, whenever the backpack would show up, he'd run away screaming. The backpack scared the bejeebies out of him. Whenever the backpack would show up, he didn't care about swiper, no swiping. It was the backpack. He'd go, ah! And we had to like stand in front of the TV. It was a backpack. He wasn't even afraid of the grumpy old troll. Poof. So how's that going, Bakumi? Can you go do a 6-hour class on poofing?
I think so.
This is the perfect example of it doesn't have to be complicated. Your secret sauce doesn't have to be complicated. I don't need you to figure out what are all of the things that you're not doing or the things that are going to put you in your way. Well, find that. But here, isn't it easier to now look back at the bridge on the other side and go, well, who the hell built that? Right? Because you didn't build it. I said, what bridge do you have? What's the shape of the bridge? And you go, oh, it's kind of like a triangle. I'm like, what the heck? How is it like a triangle? Who has a triangle bridge? Bakumi does. Because she likes things to be a challenge.
I'm using you, Bakumi, for this one to get the people. I lead people to a triangle bridge who like to poof. I know someone who like to poof on the triangle bridge.
You hear how much fun you're having? You hear how much fun you're having about talking about your business now? Now, if you can sit there, listen, when I do a 3-way call with Sharon or Rhonda or somebody else, I promise you, they will come back to a call and say, he did it. He absolutely said, I teach people how to poof. You know I'm going to do that. And I may even record it so you can watch the prospect's face go, what? Yeah, I teach people how to poof. We're not into bridge crossing or bridge building. We gave that up. We're into poofing. Click. Where'd they go? What do you mean you can't get a hold of them? Rhonda, you want to give us a rap on poofing?
Well, it's funny that y'all say this because I put in the comments, my daughter calls a fart a poof. So every time y'all say poof, I'm over here like I can't get it out of I see everybody farting, and that's really, really sad because I'm like, ah. So I was waiting for Amelia to come out at any moment because the reason she says that is because my husband thinks that girls don't do anything like that. So we have to have different words for it. So I like the thought of how much fun, though, we're having by giving it another name and some crazy hashtags, because what that does is it stirs conversation. And then it sucks people in, even through a poof, to have a dialogue with you to go, what in the world do you do? That is so much fun. So I have lots of things I've written down from this today. And I don't think I could go through all the sharing without a whole nother 2 or 3 hours. But I guess one thing that always sticks out is we have this much fun, we laugh and we giggle. How is it that we get yanked out of that so quickly sometimes when this is the place where we all want to sit? What is it that we can do to protect this special place? Even if we're freaking talking about poofing, what does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it sound like to remain in a poof and not get sidetracked or hijacked into somebody else's misery?
Non-poofness.
Yeah, non-poofness. Hashtag non-poofness. Poofness versus non-poofness. So that's what I'm saying.
Non-poofers need apply. What the?
Yeah, right. Non-poofers or unpoofers, confused followers, whatever you want to call them. So I'm going to challenge myself today of all days to remain poofy. And it's funny because the more I sit out in this humidity, my hair, y'all see me keep doing this, it's going to grow. Some of y'all know what I mean. It's going to get poofy. It's going to grow. And I'm like, you know what? Can I embrace that poofy? Can I embrace that poofiness? Can I hang on to that poofy, that poof that I am? And every time I think of misery, can I do the I Dream of Jenny, poof, the head nod and the eye blink and the poof, and we're all back to happy again. So y'all are the poof that I needed today, and go poof on somebody else and let them have the aroma of your poof and the feeling of your poof and the smiles of your poof, and may that resonate with you forever, because that, y'all, that is when we sit in our fun and our secret place that everybody else wants to join us. So I love y'all. Every one of you are so amazing. Every one of you brings something to the table that none of us others can bring. Your individuality, I soak in it and I bathe in it and I marinate in it. And it just helps me to rise up even more, looking even better. So thank you. I love y'all.
Well, there's another t-shirt from RC. Sean, head poof master in charge. This is what people want. They want this laughter. They want this fun. They want this story. Because here's what we just did. We marketed poofing, and now everybody's going to brag on it. Listen, after 3 hours, we finally came down with the secret to everybody's business. We need to poof more. What the heck? And listen, it's that allows us to, I want to just bottle up Jessica because she's just dying over there. And Sharon's laughing. Sharon's like, I'm 74. That's the secret I've been missing. $100,000 in personal development I've spent at 50 years, and now I need to go teach people to poof. Yep.
This is all what we needed, and paid thousands of dollars just to learn how to poof. Like what? I could just YouTube this. It's a YouTube channel.
You guys, I seriously want to make like a certification paper. How you can make ones for people graduating for whatever. I want to make like a real one, put it in a frame, and then hang it in my office for when I see my clients and see if my clients actually notice. And the ones that do, I'm gonna explain to them what pooping is.
Yeah, Misfit Magic Poof Master. Yep.
We're gonna have a bunch of merchandise to be printed up with poofing on it, for sure.
Have a mug
and
too.
Hats,
Happy poof.
mugs, shirts.
Bukumi is the poof source. See, this is what people need. Right now, we need more laughter. And it's something as simple as that. The thing is that this is what changes it. This is the pattern interrupt. It really is that simple. I couldn't be where I'm at if I had to be as smart as some of y'all. But I come up with things like poof, let's just go poof. You know, and the more fun we make it, the more fun it is, the more fun we have. See, here's the thing. We now get to say, this is a part of the club. Follow me on this. Follow me on this. When we have our call tomorrow and I say, where are my poof masters? Drop a P in the chat. You guys are going to be going, oh yeah, poof, 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 poof. And everybody's going to go, what the hell is going on? What did I just get on? What is he talking about? Should have been there Sunday. Oh, we had the greatest poof club.
We're gonna call you Poof Master Flex, Sean. Poof Master Flex.
Poof Master.
Dun, 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 with the drops in the bottom.
Dab?
Poof Master Flex. Poof Master.
I'm using it in my presentation.
I'm telling you, this is what it takes. Get a smoke machine. I think we have one upstairs from Valentine. I should come in tomorrow with a smoke machine on. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna see if I come in with a smoke machine. Oh, good Lord. But this is how we got off of everything else and we get back to having fun. That's what I would encourage you today. I'm Sean Murphy, your poof master, along with the amazing misfits and poof misfits that are here. I'll see y'all where?
At the next event.
At the next event.
I'll send some poof love to each other.
Happy
Happy
I love you,
Tuesday.
you poofers.
Bye.
Have an amazing day.
Have a good day.
Bye, everyone.
Love y'all.
Love you, Rhonda. Have a great day.
Hard out and use it as the promo for the day.
We love you. Latoya, we love you.
Right.
Happy Tuesday.
Love you all.
Bye,
Take
Jessica.
care.
Bye,
Bye.
Sean. Bye, Rhonda. Bye, Sharon. Bye,
Bye. Have a nice day.
Bye,
Thank you.
Bye, Julia. Bye, Ann.
Bye.
Poor guy is in India going, what just happened? I just got off a call. And we're talking about poofing. This is not what we talk. What is going on?
Is this legal? Is this legal? It's not legal, y'all. Let's leave.
You guys are too funny. Have a good day.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.